We're back, baby. We're in the cool, professionally done over. Although, actually, fuck me. Oh, Colin's Fabulous Ultima overlay looks amazing. But we're back in the amazing Andrew Bowman overlay round of orbit.
Woo! Yeah, we're here, man. I'm so excited. Well, thank you all for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is not connected to our previous little 3-shot, but we are diving back into Out of Orbit. The campaign went incredibly thanks to a lot of you all here sharing it and being a part of, you know, talking about a game that I'm really excited about.
You got over 7K.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it was pretty great. It was pretty great. I am excited to be able to make it like really, I don't know, a lot of good book, and a lot of art and lots of stuff. So with all of that, you guys can go follow it over on Itch if you would like. There is a game listing. I will be probably putting out some playtest materials in the next couple months. So if you get in there and whatnot, you'll get alerts and whatnot and all that. So today we are actually kind of trying to speed run what is not normally the most one-shotty of games. But we're doing that with some strategic narrative choices. So if you were here for our other 3 games, we spent a lot of time on character creation. It's not really a lot of time necessarily once you're up and running, but basically they roll up characters and there's injuries involved as well as character flaws, interests, backgrounds, all that fun stuff. But we're going to actually be jumping right into the middle of a mission. So we're going to be starting our story, and all of our players are not familiar with one another in the characters they created before stream. We're going to be jumping right into that narrative, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for being here. Matt, got any other business stuff?
I'll do some quick business stuff. First off, we got Spawners. Kapow. Go check them out. The links are in chat. I'll highlight Raven and Riddle, who makes amazing sharp-edged handmade dice. If you join Raven and Riddle's Discord, Sam runs an amazing community that is just like engaged and on it and just like full of love and awesomeness. But they also post all of their currently available like in-stock sets. They have like a bunch of chaos dice that are just like leftovers from other sets that like some of the dice were broken, and so they were just like sort of orphaned D12s and D6s. So like there's a bunch of cool dice. If you are looking to make like a set of dice for a character, I did this with Sam before, they will absolutely like work with you to like, what's the vibe of this character, what do they need, and like custom make your like polyhedral set for them. It's super cool. So go check out Raven and Riddle. Go check out our Patreon and Discord, where you can join our communities and hang out with us. Patreon, next week we are going to be having the teaser / session 0 for a premium podcast going live, so make sure and join in on that. That is going to be for all paid patrons. You are going to get the full session 0, and for all of our free patrons you're going to get a little teaser. I'll edit up like a little teaser of what we are doing so you see a little bit. Any other announcements? I can't think of anything. Normally on Wednesdays we're doing our Fabulous Ultima campaign, so tune in next week. Colin is away for today, sad days, but tune in next week for more awesome weeby JTTRPG nonsense as we get
Did
back
we miss
into...
the boner?
I mean, we're here.
Bonus
So we're the default
They last
boner.
longer than 4
Okay.
hours, see your doctor.
Yep. The stream won't last that long. You'll be fine.
Performance joke. Up top.
I've actually decided I'm refusing to get on
Thank
today,
you.
so we need to play for like 4 or 5 hours, I think.
You're refusing to get
All
off.
right.
That's very different
Lock
than
in,
your
baby.
story during Tech Check.
I mean, that's when that constitution comes into it.
Oh man.
Bang!
Look,
Bang!
at a certain point. No, I'm good. I'm not gonna. Nope.
Hi, Robert and Luna. Welcome.
All right, tossing it back to you, Andrew. That's all the announcements I have.
No,
Get the
more
chaos.
sex jokes.
More.
No, I'm kidding. All right.
No more!
No
This is not the
more.
right website
I'm
for
not
that, Andrew.
done. Edgy.
Please, sir, may I have some
Oh
more?
my God.
That's nice.
All right, everybody, let's
Jesus
jump
Christ,
into
Matt.
our game of Out of Orbit. So here's what we're gonna do. You know, the little intro-y stuff that I normally run for people that have never played before. isn't it's not as fresh for you guys. So what I'm gonna do is I know somebody rolled up the pilot.
Ooh,
Who was that?
I did.
Haley. All right. So
She has a punctured
I'm gonna
lung
ask
line.
you a couple of questions. Oh boy. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions about the flight.
All right.
And maybe about the ship and the journey that we're on, and keeping it fairly general. This is likely a transit ship. This is a lot of people going from one place to another in frontier space. Frontier space is full of strange alien planets, but many of them have been terraformed and made to be your mega city, dystopic, cyberpunk stuff, while others remain far more frontier. You got a couple scattered outposts. We are likely headed to one of those outposts, or from one of these major cities where there's lots of people. And there's always things that are broadcast in frontier space about these amazing opportunities, that kind of manifest destiny spirit about going out and the noble art of entering the frontier and making your mark and finding your space out there in the distant planets. So my question for you is, on this trip there were probably a couple things that went weird, not necessarily wrong, but like there were anomalous things about the flight itself that were red flags for you during this process for this character. So if you could briefly introduce us to the name of this character,
So
maybe
this
quick little physical appearance, and then share with me what some weird stuff that has happened along the trip.
Yes. So this is Molly, and she wears a well-worn spacesuit that it actually has like patches from old past missions all over it. And normally people can't get away with like them being so tattered, but she like has a good enough reputation that she can pretty much do what she wants. She's like a thick, tall, big woman who can just like pick things up straight over the shoulder and get things where they need to going. But she has a little bit more of a sensitive side, and she has like a vintage, whatever vintage means in this world, camera that she carries around, which like instant prints a photo, kind of like a Polaroid.
Totally. I like to describe the state of technology as we still have VHS and nanotech for some reason. So it's somewhere in that space.
Exactly. So she has this camera, and I imagine like she's not the only pilot on the ship.
Yeah.
And there might be like a co-pilot or just another pilot there too, or maybe even a crew of them, so they swap in and out. I don't know how big the ship is. Was it just a transit?
It's probably
wasn't it?
I mean, think of it like a recycled like old tanker that was then used, because like they got it on bargain, and was used to ferry a bunch of people out to a new outpost out in frontier space. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
probably not the greatest ship, but it's pretty big.
So she is piloting one fine day when the first weird thing that she notices is a group of let's say a mixture of like stingrays and birds, like just out of nowhere, like a meteor storm just start like pelting into the side of the ship, like and it is like huge. It's like when you see those big groups of birds that like fly together, and there's like hundreds of them, like it just like fully hits into us, and then the ones that don't that don't hit us just keep making their way towards like a far off planet in a certain direction. That's the first thing that happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I like that.
Yeah.
So throughout the flight, there was it's one of those things where there's people that are able to remain in stasis for a certain amount of time, but they have to, for like health reasons, not remain in stasis for too long. They basically get woken up out of those like temporary comas. They're allowed to roam around. So you can kind of go put yourself into stasis for a while, but there's like a timer that wakes you up. So during the flight, you all have probably been up, a couple times here and there. as we're heading out into the reaches. So I would love to know, Matt, for you, with one of your characters that you've rolled up, what aboard the ship itself, maybe about another crew member, created a sense of like unease for you about what otherwise should be a fairly routine ferry out to the reach.
Okay. I got 3 characters, so I'm gonna roll randomly, and I got
See which one.
Yeah.
And it could be about a different one of your characters.
So okay. I like it because this lets me do a thing that I wanted to get. Yes, thank you. Oscar is part of the security personnel, and probably a little bit bored. Is like going through like the routine from one thick character to another. I put in the description Jim Bro thick, like just yoked. Truly, like if he's not working out.
What's a neck?
Yeah, what is a neck? Don't need those. Just that happening. If he was not a sponsor for Capsule Corps, he's doing security officer stuff. I think the thing that weirds him out a little bit is he's just like doing rounds, goes to report in after like making sure that everything seems on the up and up. And Zardik, the captain, is looking over scans, doing things, and is just like sort of like fidgeting with this little like case that they like start to like put into their pocket when Oscar comes in, and it slips a little bit and opens, and Oscar clocks that in there is a very recognizable type of sleeping pill, something that some more paranoid spacefarers would keep on them as basically like a more kinder version of a cyanide capsule. And so Zardik is just quick to like put that away, tuck it in. Oscar gives his report, and it's just like, that's why would they need that for a routine ferrying a bunch of people? That's weird.
And I would imagine that in that realization, well, was it clear that Zardik knew they kind of had been seen with it, or not so much?
Well, I'm gonna roll. If I roll,
do it.
Roll good.
Yeah.
Then
See,
yes.
If there's any tags for awareness, that would feel irrelevant.
Not clear. Like Zardik probably thinks that they were quick enough to like pocket that. Oscar did enough of a like resting security face that it wasn't clear that anything had been clocked.
Okay. And Melissa, for one of you, go ahead and pick one of your characters.
Okay.
And I want to know when it comes to the ship itself, there were like maybe some noises or like something going haywire, like a little bit, that one of your characters noticed. What was going on, and did they interface with it at all? Did they react to it? Did they tell somebody? Help me out, paint that picture.
I'm thinking of our technical officer, Frank. I'm kind of picturing Frank as like a slightly older gentleman, like kind of gnarled hands and stuff, like someone who works with their hands so much, like you see like the massive knuckles and everything and just calluses throughout their old hands. Been around the block a few times. Probably got like the big like handlebar mustache that's like got the mutton chop kind of, whole beard thing going on. Whereas like the newspaper boy hat, I'm really, dating myself with these kind of references, but
love it.
I'm thinking that at one point he was probably doing his rounds, like kind of the, for lack of a better word, like the graveyard shift, so to speak.
Yeah, totally.
Like everyone else went to bed and whatnot, and he's there just kind of taking care of all
Checking
of it.
the air scrubbers, looking at, different sensors and...
And I'm thinking it starts off where it's an alarm going off, where it's minor. So in inspecting it, he's checking wires, he's checking, like, you know, pressure gauges and stuff, and everything's fine, but the alarm is still going off. And then another one goes
weird.
off.
So the
And another
sensors
goes off.
are reacting as if there's something wrong. And then every
Right.
time it gets checked, not so much.
Yep. To the point where it all just kind of goes red in the room, and there's like sirens going off, and everything is just on full alert, like the ship's about to
Yeah.
explode sort of levels. And all of a sudden it all just stops. Like just in an instant, where he's like rubbing his eyes, wondering if it's a lack of sleep, if he's like too stressed out from working so hard or anything else. And he doesn't he keeps it to himself in the moment.
Yeah.
But he like holds on to it to see if it keeps going in pattern before he brings
just
it
like
up.
keeping an eye on it. I'll tell somebody if that keeps happening, because it was weird, but we'll see. Like right now it's for me. I think that amidst some of these alarms, as we hear that the wah, wah, like in one of these halls late at night, and then it goes silent. Taylor, one of your characters, probably was like, you know, had kind of decanted themselves and was making their way through the hall with like a snack or something, or whatever you want them doing. Just kind of about the halls, heard some of these alarms. Why don't you pick the character and then I'll tell you something and then ask you a question.
All right. Let's go with Brandon.
Okay.
He's considerably younger than some of the other people on this ship. Looking a bit scrawny. Not so much malnourished, but definitely underweight. His clothes are a bit dirty. His pants don't seem to fit around his hips properly. He's got mismatching shoes. Hair's a bit tossed in, like, a little bit greasy. Like, he just looks like he needs a good meal and a bath. A little bit of uneven, double, like, patchy coming through. So probably just coming out of puberty, maybe.
Yeah. Like an awkward 17-year-old kind of vibe. Yeah. I feel like Brandon, as he's like walking by a lot of the other pods after kind of getting a snack or something, just, you know, looking around, seeing all these sleeping people in pods, you know, vertical pods down this hall, heading back to his to go back to sleep after a snack. He sees somebody awake in their pod. Lights are off in their pod, and they're just kind of like boom, 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 boom. After you heard those alarms like a few minutes ago.
Brandon's gonna look around to be like, shit.
Kid! And you just hear the muffled sound of somebody yelling at you. Not like panicked, but like trying to get your attention.
I'm not even supposed to be here. Because Brendan's a runaway. So he's sort of got that little bit of panic, like, shit, I'm gonna get caught. Like, I stole someone's place on this ship. Like, oh no, type of thing. So he'll hesitantly come up to this pod.
Yeah, you just see this guy that looks wildly panicked. Just like, and the notable thing that it's not just, you know, panicking because of their pods acting up, but you see their irises and they're just tight, like almost closed. And they're just looking at you, and as Brandon kind of gets hesitant but closer to it, you can just hear through the muffled glass, "We gotta get out of here. We can't We can't go. It's pulling us. We gotta go. We gotta get out. And then all the alarms start going as you all feel the ship, whether you're sleeping or not, get ripped out of rift space as the ship begins to tumble end over end. And you can see through whatever nearby, windows or whatever, you can see like the burning atmosphere as the ship is clearly tumbling into the proximity of a planet. And this person just smacks their head against and dies. And we cut to about 2 weeks later. We have crash landed on a strange and alien place. All attempts to get a signal off have failed. In fact, even a lot of the short range communications devices are not working the way that they should. Many people died during the crash. In fact, each of you witnessed some horrible things or yourselves were hurt terribly. It was a long process to at least feel less anxious and stressed by the very crash itself. Many people having died, many people being injured. The resources that were pulled from the ship and that were on hand quickly dwindled. And it became very apparent that not only did we not have a good way to get out of here, but we need to figure out how we can survive here for any amount of time. In the those first 2 weeks of just mainly draining the ship of the supplies that it had and cobbling together what shelters we could, I have a couple questions for you all. One, obviously, you'd be thinking about any of those moments you may want to share from the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to kind of go round robin style. Using the kind of framework that we talked about, I'll let each of you pick any one of the three, which is a beautiful moment, a horrific moment, and a mysterious moment. And also keeping in mind any of your traumas and stuff that you might want to flesh out a little bit more. I know some of you have witnessed some things that may be worthy of referencing at this point, but we'll go round robin. And the other question I have before we get to that is I would like to flesh out a little bit of the biome that we have crash landed into. So I'm going to give each of you an opportunity to help contribute to painting that picture. Please don't put us in a desert. Dang it. Desert again. No. So what I'm going to say is...
Shatter, Andrew.
In honor of Conlon, desert no.
I know what it is. It's like there's like a section where we landed, and then every 50 feet in 4 locations of 4 different biomes.
We're at the 4 corners of like a weird.
You're in the middle of
mashup.
the hex grid. You're just like right in the.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't have enough sheep to trade.
So that was so good.
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm
brilliant.
gonna have each of you roll me a d20.
Ooh.
Pink D20.
And
Me too.
I'll start with Matt because he's got one on ready to go.
A 12.
12. All right. So this is a feature of it, and then I'm gonna let you define it a little bit more.
Okay.
That feature is this is a lot of the coloration. So you can tell me what is this color of the local biome and help flesh out what that is. So it's going to be icy blue and like flecks of white. Ooh. This could be, maybe the foliage, whatever have you. But that is the only thing I'm prescribing. You can kind of paint the rest of what that detail references.
Okay. I'm going to avoid the... We said no desert. I feel like going frozen tundra is the next trap, and
I would agree.
So clear with like the icy blues and the flecks of white, but instead, what I want to do, let's go creepy. I think that wherever we are, there are trees. There are these sort of like branching, like skeletal, like think mangrove roots, but they're making these like nanotube kind of like the how those carbon tubes kind of look. They're making that structure upward to where they have these like super hyper dense pieces of wood, and
Yeah.
then it's just hollow in the interior, and their leaves, that's all this like blue, sort of pale, like icy blue look to it. Like it's got a little bit of striation. It has these like bark-like markings, but it's weird. It's almost somewhere between like bark and tempered steel, like the fold lines of it. And then the leaves of it are these like just clumps of that like if lichen were extremely like icy white. Like it looks like ice growing out, but it's just these like soft little like moss patches in these like weird bulbous bundles that sort of hang off of it like a weeping willow, but more like pod balls that just sort of like waver around up top.
I think that with that, a lot of this biome basically is, rather than like a singular like bunch of a bunch of trees that make up a forest, they're clearly more unified, similar to like how mega fauna like mushroom stuff, or mega flora mushroom like can be like across the entire freaking state or whatever.
It's making me think of that giant like forest of trees where it's actually one fungus that's all connected.
Exactly.
Yeah, aspens.
So,
yeah.
but I think that it's like they make up like that shell, like you're saying, like that like almost that networked structure, and they're like these domes. Just like if you were to see the aerial shot, it's like these almost chalky white domes that make up the majority of the landscape, and like the ship crashed into it and just kind of shattered a lot of these pseudo tree sinewy things. So it's almost kind of very claustrophobic a lot in this immediate biome of like the verticality of it, which also, by the way, I'm sending this to you, Matt. You can share this with the stream however you're able. That's art I've already done, so this worked out.
Yeah. I may or may not have been thinking about this image when I thought about this.
That's fine. So yeah. I don't care. I'm still into it. Let's do it.
I'm gonna add that to the little reel that we got going, so it should show up in just a second.
Good is that reel? I keep getting like distracted with it.
I'll drop it in the I'll drop it in our chat too.
The reel being in the center of the live stream where we have all the art.
There. Yeah.
Because we didn't have that last time.
We had
because
it last
that's what
time
happens when you support small creators, where you give them more monies.
Not to undercut your point, because it's a good point. We did have it last time when I think someone had to miss. I think it was you. You were gone. You were in España. And so
when you weren't here.
We replaced your beautiful face with beautiful art.
With art.
Nice post-apocalyptic liminal horror space art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
with this kind of like icy honeycomb like structure around us, let's go Haley.
I rolled a 19.
19. Okay.
19,
so
19.
I want to flesh out one of the life forms nearby. So this could be flora or fauna. And you said 19.
Yeah.
An inspiration for you, however you want to take this, is seaweed.
Ooh.
Okay.
You can go flora or fauna, and you can get weird, but we're in that kind of bizarre biome, so something about it reminds you of seaweed.
Something about it reminds you of seaweed. Yeah, okay, cool. So, like, I think that there, other than it's another plant by the looks of it, that it sticks up out of the ground, and it's still, and it's kind of made out of the same as like, it looks like that Damascus steel almost.
Ooh, yeah.
But it literally comes up like this, and it only moves when you're not looking at it. And it looks like it's like floating. So like when from the corner of your eye, you see something floating like in water, like it's floating next to you, and then you turn and it's still because there's no wind, there's nothing that's moving it, and that's what you see that grows out of the ground in like bushes. But like yeah.
I love it.
I wanna force this onto one of your characters, so do that what you will. One of them woke up with a bunch of them just kind of like around them, like almost like all of these tendrils were like getting ready to grab you, like a la, you know,
and as soon as
weeping
someone
angels
noticed it,
and they woke up.
Yeah, and it was just sitting there. And you could easily get up out of it
Yep,
and
not a
walk
problem.
through it. Nothing happens,
Yep.
but as soon as you're not paying attention, I love it.
All right.
So good.
Okay. And okay, so Melissa, for you, what'd you roll?
It's
A 1.
no, actually, but close. I got a 3.
3.
3.
Okay. There are microhabitats within this kind of cage-like structure. We need a name for this. What is this? What are we calling this?
The cage.
The cage? Oh, that's terrifying.
I'm just
So
thinking of
within
John
the
Cena
cage-
recently with what's been
There you
happening
go.
with his career. So
The heel. But there are some
Elimination Chamber is better
microhabitats
name.
within this. The what?
do you have a better
you
name?
just said, like, you were talking about the cage, John Cena, and then I was calling, it's called Elimination Chamber, so, like,
I mean, they kind of look like bones.
yeah.
It's like the
No, the
bone,
cage is
the
good.
bone zone. There we go. Landed that
There's our
one.
boner.
There's the boner.
We got there.
So within the cage, there are some micro like habitats. So this could be I feel like this is probably inhabited. I can't freaking talk. Lived in, by some smaller creatures within this area. So tell me a little bit about these microhabitats within. Maybe they're like little hovels. Maybe they are stuff that hangs on the cage itself. Yeah, what is that, and what is it occupied with?
I'm thinking with all other animals that are there, since this place seems it's weirdly void of life, but not necessarily lifeless, if that's like a nice way to describe it. I'm thinking that the microhabitats are very temporary, where when an animal dies, I'm talking like its guts kind of open up and it like opens up the insides and such. Sorry for those of you who are not eager for graphic stuff.
Yeah, if you're not here for this is the wrong game for you.
Sorry. But you know how like in Return of the Jet, which one was it where they're on the planet Hoth for Star Wars?
Empire
the
Strikes Back.
thank you. So, you just see the insides of like this beast that just fell over dead, and its stomach is just like completely open, and it's like you see other critters that are just kind of wandering around making a home
Like
for
walking
itself.
around inside a rib cage.
Yeah, it's just like it's
which
big
kind
and
of
small.
perfectly mirrors what we are inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just this you all right there, Taylor? All right.
My imagination is running wild.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Well,
I'm
you're
having a
next, kid.
great time.
This
Yeah,
is making
I'm
me
having
think-
a great time.
This is
I
making
know,
me think.
it's not just the cage, it's the rib cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is making me think.
Oh my
like,
god. Well,
the
now that
idea
it's
like,
broken,
there's these small little critters that keep dying. It makes me think of like whale falls, where like when a whale dies,
Yeah,
and it
that's
hits
what I was
bottom,
going for.
It makes this
Yep.
whole ecosystem sprout up around it, but just that in like hyper fast forward, where it's just these little blooms of craziness, and then it's desiccated.
That's
and
what
goes
I was
away.
thinking of. That's what I was
Yeah.
going for.
yeah. So what are the things that are inside of these carcasses? Like what are
I'm
the
think-
small life forms that dwell?
I'm thinking like some abomination of like a roly-poly, like kind of buggy sort of creatures, like that kind of thing. Maybe more so like oh shoot, I forgot the name of what you call them, but they basically take dead things and introduce nutrients to the soil. I forget the name for it. The scientist is struggling, folks. And then
We
you have
get it.
like the scavengers that are like kind of like rats or mice, and it's just like picking at like the raw meat and stuff. You might have like a bird like thing coming down and like kind of taking the actual scraps after when it's like almost depleted and done. So you see like a little bit of everything of like every stage. All of them are carnivorous though. All of them are there solely for the intent of the raw, dead, rotting flesh.
All right. I love it.
Sorry, viewers.
Welcome. And Taylor, my question is, basically with like the different scales we're dealing in, right? Like the cage itself is so large, and then we've got these micro habitats of carcasses of wandering animals that have died. I want to know. I'm going to ask you two questions because one, I want you to contribute to a lot of the living, weird environment, but I also have a weird question right after. So the first one is, what is another, like, the most common life form that you have seen? And I'll give you a modifier to that prompt in a second. So the first one's just the equivalent of, like, if there's a bunch of capuchin monkeys, or like what's the main life form that you've seen a ton of, and we'll get your roll for that. So what was your dice roll?
A 1.
Nice. What the hell does that mean? Okay, so
You tell me.
when these life forms are around, whatever they are, they absorb sound.
Oh, haunting.
So what are they? Like, the sound around them is muffled, and like kind of like you could still hear yourself talk, but it would sound almost like you're underwater.
That's
What are these
terrifying.
life forms?
Oh, I'm so here for it. Got this weird mixture in my head right now. They kind of look like the secrets from the new Monster Hunter game.
Oh,
Like
I'm not
a-
familiar.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Google, hang on.
Just a very, very small velociraptor looking creature, but instead of having like that thin streamlined tail, their tail actually fans out with feathers the same color as the mossy undergrowth, and they've got more of a wing, so they can actually glide from tree to tree, and if they're on the ground they can actually run on all fours. They're in that weird mid transition from going from dinosaur to bird type thing, but they're very,
Yeah.
very small, and they are everywhere.
What are they called? Or what are y'all calling them? Doesn't have to be scientific. It'd be whatever lazy, easy
Yeah.
thing that
I'm
the
trying to think
survivors
of-
would end up calling them.
I'm trying to think of something like creative to do with the dulling. The dullers, I don't know, what's the opposite of amplification? Oh my gosh, dampeners.
Nullification.
Muffled.
I'm the null.
Dampeners.
Maybe don't play off of Muff. Don't play off of Muff.
Too many.
Those
Um,
muffs
what
are
about
delicious if you
we
can
just
manage
call-
to wrangle them.
What about if we called them the silent because we can't hear them?
Yeah.
Love it.
The silent, yeah.
That's cool.
So like the silent,
Whispers?
because like that's yeah whispers.
Well, because we can still hear, so like we're not
Yeah.
in complete silent.
Mm.
But
No,
sort
but
of
I
like
mean,
when you
like,
go
as in
into.
we get muffled, but maybe they are silent. I was just saying, like, maybe.
I like the idea that
Yeah.
like you can't hear them coming, so they're just like.
I will say,
There.
chat has suggested chickens.
Imagine you're talking and then out of nowhere, in the middle of the conversation, you end up.
That was
and
my
then you're like,
contribution.
Oh, okay.
they're here.
Yeah, so that's the only way you know. They're
Duller birds.
duller birds. I like that. They're duller. Yeah, they're
Duller
duller
birds.
birds. I like that.
All right.
That's
Um,
cool.
So you can see them running
So-
around and skittering. They're too small to see us as prey,
Yeah.
but they are very curious about us, so we're forever being dull.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
and I think that we've probably lost a lot of rations to
Oh, absolutely.
these. Like, they're just like, all of a sudden there's a bunch of them in the back and going through some of the food and stuff.
They probably
um,
enjoyed like one dead body of ours, and they're like, we could probably figure out that when they die. Like,
It's a
they
weird.
are
I
scavengers.
feel like it's such a weird alert system to be aware that they're around. If you're making noise,
Yeah.
because you hear it muffled, but if you're not making noise,
You have no idea.
You wouldn't know.
It's like the
So that's
complete
interesting.
opposite when other creatures are in danger. Like, I
Yeah.
forget what kind of baboon or monkey. It's a particular type of monkey. They will like howl
Howler
and
monkeys.
alert Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they basically just and they just alert everything in the vicinity if they see a predator.
The
So
way
it's like
that your gate on your microphone just cut that out made it sound like whatever these chickens sound like.
It was
'cause
a
it's like-
great, yeah. It was that,
It was
and
Yeah.
it's like
great
dubstep.
sound.
Oh.
yeah, exactly.
perfect.
Love
Yeah,
Okay, so we've got the duller chickens. We've got carcasses abound. We've got little roly polies. We've got the cage itself. Did I hit everybody already?
Mhm.
Just want to make sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my other question for Taylor was, one of your characters has seen something amidst all this weird biome that doesn't feel like it should be here at all. Like, it feels like it's from a populated frontier world and it should not be in the cage. It doesn't make sense that it would be here. It could be very personal. It could be very just odd. But I want to know who sees it and what is it?
Yep. So Catherine will probably see this. She sees children running in between the trees. And when the duller birds aren't around, she can hear giggling. But every time she calls out to them or tries to get close,
Yeah.
they just vanish. And there's no evidence of any footsteps or twigs being broken from children running through trees. Like, there's nothing to suggest that they've been there except just these flashes of movement and color, like a bright red shirt and dark denim jeans that a kid might wear, riding a bike in the street or something. Like, they look like human children that
Yeah.
should be back on Earth or something.
I think
You just helped
Go
so
ahead.
much with my mysterious thing that we get asked later. I was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, 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 ooh.
Oop. Okay, so now let's jump to the last couple weeks. So I want to know real quick, what is something that has occurred in that time, given our biome, given some of these initial understandings we have about where we are. So I'll go back in same order that I just did. So Matt, I believe I had you go first on the cage. So what is a moment that we have had in the last couple weeks that you'd like to define for us?
Yeah. And it's between the three: beautiful, mysterious, and horrifying, right?
Yes. Yep.
Y'all bet I'm going on horrifying. But I get my horrifying out yesterday on Tuesday, so I'm gonna do something beautiful. I think something that happens early on is, because I imagine there's like the horrors abound in this place, and there's just like what could possibly be okay here. I think someone that's having a hard time is Miko, who is this old asteroid miner, been around the block, has the scars to prove it, has a prosthetic mechanical leg, and he's just chilling in like an early morning, and we've got that like the accretion disk, is that what it's called, of the black hole, that like that's
The
our
black
light
hole.
source. And so it's this very like dim, like near pitch blackness moving to just north of dim light, and it's raining, but the rain here, because of some sort of like weird chemical makeup in like the water cycle of this planet, combined with these weird like fungus dome trees, by the time this precipitation hits down, it's turned into these like little like almost crystalline gel pods, and it starts bouncing down through those skeletal tubule tree trunks. It's
Like somebody dumped a bunch of
Yeah.
like super balls
like
through
super
like
balls,
a rain
but-
stick.
but through like a rain stick. Yeah, it's got that like twinkling quality to it. It's got like, if someone made like, I want gem dust to kind of sound that way, with that like that peaceful sort of sensation of you're on your back porch listening to a wind chime and it's just the right amount of wind that's occasionally knocking, it's not too much. It's that sensation. And then like the duller birds start to move in through the morning, and they're just like grabbing these little things and like eating it like sustenance, because it's mostly whatever this water is.
Yeah.
And that dulling as it hits the ground makes this like weird sort of warble harmony, fade in, fade out nature to that precipitation as it rocks around inside the trees. It's just this like, nature is putting on this weird concert as an alarm clock for the camp this morning.
I wonder if even when it's like liquid and then it enters into the cage, if it's gathering something from the cage itself that's having a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Almost like reacting with like gelatin or something, you know, like it's like mixing the more that the liquid comes down, and by the time that it hits the ground, you hear like it's beautiful, and then you hear
it's
as
like
they, like,
sleep
hit the
by
ground,
the time
like,
it hits
splat,
the ground. It's
splat.
just these sort of like jelly cubes that are almost ice, not quite. It's weird.
Yeah. I like
You guys
that.
have just like inspired my entire idea. I'm so excited.
Well,
Yours
I
adds
think
straight
that was
onto mine.
order. So Haley.
So
You're up.
I'm gonna do a mysterious moment, which I'm gonna encompass a couple of things. So after these precipitation events, some of the chalky nature on some of like the bigger bulbous mushrooms begins to kind of like turn into this almost mist that like obscures everything. And this is like what makes those plopping noises as the jelly hits the ground like really confusing, because you can barely see it when this happens as things pick up. But then as this fog rolls in, that's when the giggles pick up too. And when the fog rolls out, there's actually little offerings, hunted offerings. So like there's different little critters and birds that have been like killed and almost prepared and then left somewhere that like seems like a little bit like it's like always in like a very similar spot that somehow they've decided this is important. There's like a good mushroom circle around it, or like a 3-point carcass, like, or something like that. Like there's a bit of symbolism to the offerings that are left behind for us when the fog disappears.
It's giving me big
fae
don't
shit.
eat the fae food vibes.
Yep.
And I'm loving it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Melissa.
I'm gonna choose the horrifying one just because it's should ruin all the good vibes. I feel like with the crash, obviously some people didn't make it. And in an impromptu way to try and put some semblance of like normalcy to the chaos that happened, there were people who were buried, you know, a very makeshift grave, nothing fancy, just something to kind of provide closure.
Yep.
And I feel like when people are not looking, because the dead are dead, so you know, they're kind of left to the wayside because they have to take care of themselves too. I would think in the middle of the night, you see the mounds where people were buried start to inflate like it's breathing. And the dirt kind of just rises, kind of shifts and moves a little bit. And all of a sudden you see it sink and concave in. So whatever was there before, whoever was buried there before.
So the bodies are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's where the children come from.
Yes! Love it.
I
Hate
mean,
it. Love it.
you have
Hate it.
microenvironments where everything's
Mhm.
eating the things that are
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they disappear. I was gonna say it's the decomposition, like all the gases coming up, and then once they actually like break through the surface, they're like, oh, okay, and like all the itty bitty bugs that have like completely destroyed the carcasses or the cadavers, I should say. That's a little bit more sensitive. Just leaves that
Carcass.
dip.
Or there
Ah,
might be something
Ugh.
bigger.
or there might be something
that
more
needs to eat.
sinister.
There's something happening. There's a running thread here that I'm like noodling with, that like this place feels like it's attempting to manifest its own purity and preserve it. Like, no dead bodies allowed, no remnants allowed, no offal, no viscera. We must clean it. We must preserve it. Don't be too loud. We'll send the duller birds. Don't be too this. We'll send the this. It's like,
Stay
All
with
right.
us forever and ever. That's the
You'll
That-
float
that's-
too. Anyway.
Molly
Oh,
for
man.
sure heard the whispers over the like comms when we got close to wherever this is before we got ripped out of space.
maybe the dude in the pod could actually hear it.
Hmm.
And as
And
we
that's
get
what
closer towards
he
the
shouldn't have
planet,
woken
you
up.
hear, "Play with us."
I don't know if anyone
Matt,
noticed
you're
the
evil.
music
I think
change.
I don't
Wait.
like it.
Oh, the music! I
You
just heard
gave
it.
them the controls for this, Andrew. This is what you
That's
asked
great.
for.
I love it. No, this is perfect. My cheeks
hate
already
it,
hurt. I've been
Kevin.
smiling the whole
Yeah.
time.
We're not
Oh
we're
my
not
God.
jumping into copyright. Got to be careful here.
Andrew, I don't know about you, but this is fantastic
I
too
love
for
it so
one-shot
much.
material. I'm,
I'm
just saying.
watching. I'm asking you guys questions.
I'm just asking questions.
Okay.
They're great questions. They are great questions.
With that, Taylor,
It's time to go on a
Yeah.
mission. Oh wait, no.
what
Taylor's
was
turn.
one more? Yep, one more thing. One more moment before
I'm sorry.
we go on, and I'm gonna tie your moment to a bit of the instigating event for the mission we're going on.
Okay.
So we have left the cage, at least the immediate vicinity within the cage, because it's a fairly large biome of probably multiple cages. So I'd say probably like one of these large domes that we've found are probably like about like a mile maybe in like diameter. So they're big, and so like we've probably left the immediate vicinity of the dome that we landed in.
Say our dome is the
for
only
some
one with
reason-
a crack in the center.
Yeah, ours is like a broken egg, like up top.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like probably a lot of it crumbled because it's like a whole system of just holding it up, and it gets thinner the further up it goes. So a lot of it probably collapsed in very
Aren't
brittle.
they hollow? Aren't the roots and branches and everything hollow as well?
I don't know if we said that, but I like that.
Oh, I thought Matt said that like
They're
when
like-
Matt said that
the rain and everything caused the African trees that absorb the water.
They're like
In that trunk?
it's like the lattice work. So it was
Yeah.
the rain and stuff was like knocking around on the inside of them. And I meant like Andrew said, as they get taller and taller, they're like super spindly and small towards the top. So it's just those like I'm picturing those little like marble kits that kids play with, where it starts at the top and then just like and just like goes all the way
Yeah.
down.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like
So, yeah.
that, where it's like the rainwater was being like sent down these little channels through those spindly networks and lattice
Yeah.
works
Got you.
of the
Mhm. Okay.
the
okay. Yeah.
branches, the wood, the trees.
So I want to know. I think that probably maybe tied to Brandon somehow. I'm not necessarily saying mirror what we did last time with Gui going off in search of something, but I think that between the moment that Brandon had with the guy that bashed his head against the side and was warning Brandon about now seemingly the planet itself. What's the instigating event for us going out? We already know we're pretty low on resources. We probably have teams going out to get food and some basics. But this group right now that we're going to throw together for this mission went out, and I think that it ties to Brandon somehow.
Yep. Okay. Brendan is also suffering from survivor's guilt.
Mm.
So I think over the last 2 weeks, that's just been eating at him, going, okay, this guy died trying to warn us about what? And then the children and the missing bodies and everything, like it's just gotten to a point where Brendan's like, no, we have to find out what's going on here. Is this planet sentient, or is there a different sort of civilization here that's trying to communicate, trying to get off this planet the same as us? Like, something's going on, we need to find out what it is. Like, it's driving him nuts not knowing what happened.
And so I think he probably would disclose this to a couple people and kind of pulls together a group of people that are willing to just essentially explore, but just like, let's go further than we've gone before, because we need to understand more of this place other than just the immediate vicinity around us, because we're seemingly stuck here right now. So this is very, very exploratory, but like cautiously, obviously.
Maybe we can find more offering circles as we go deeper, and so that's what we're following.
Yeah.
Or like a trail. Yeah. Like they've been luring us.
So I'll say it, we've been out for a couple days now. And I think that as we've progressed and waking up in the morning, we've found that there has been stuff left in a direction, that kind of is leading us as breadcrumbs each morning. But each morning it's been a different type of offering. And there have been like, at first it's very like almost cute and like, what is this? This is so strange. It's like a little arrangement of, some of the seaweed stuff and like these cute little designs. And then later on it's, some of the roly-polies that have been like their exoskeletons like cobbled together, and it kind of looks like the four of you like made out of exoskeletons, just like not glued together, but essentially just like, oh, I made little beetle people. And then like the following day there is like smaller the duller chickens, their corpses that have been like brutalized and twisted and like amalgamated together, but not just like by somebody's hands, like as if they had phased into one another, like glitched in their bodies are twisted into this strange like thing on the ground. So it's becoming almost more menacing as you have progressed. And with that, I'd like to know who is on this mission. I think Brandon is. That said, Taylor, you're not locked in on having to be Brandon if you don't want to, and you have somebody else and you can throw it to the group. I'll also pilot Brandon if need be, if you're really itching to play somebody else.
That's okay. I feel like Brandon would want to lead this. I feel like it's his idea to go out and do this. And then if someone else wants to, they can take Catherine. I think she would be a good idea for this because she's a wildlife enthusiast. And she's also
saw something alien on the crash.
And she saw, so she was the one that saw the children. She's a bit of an artist, so she has an eye for detail, so was probably able to try and maybe pick up some symbolism.
I'll play Catherine if no one else wants to, because neither of mine really fit. I feel like Molly has got a punctured lung, so she's chilling at this point. She's not, and she was the pilot, so I feel like she probably took up some sort of leadership position. And then Tilda doesn't trust her, and so she has to stay back and make sure that she keeps an eye on everything, because there's something weird about Molly and her just going with the flow at this point. Like, she's too into this.
This is not a flow to go with, Molly.
Yeah, exactly. So I think yes,
How do
I'm
you
gonna take
unflow?
Catherine. Yeah, I'm gonna take Catherine.
Awesome.
I will pitch it to the group a little bit. I've got Miko, who is an older asteroid miner with a prosthetic leg. There is Zardik, who is the captain. We saw a little bit of them along with Oscar, one of the security officers, whose flaw is afraid of the dark and hobby is fishing.
I like that Zardik, or wait, no, not Zardik. It was Miko, is the fear of alien life.
Yeah, fear of alien life.
Just
Yeah.
Absolutely
having a
terrified
hard
every morning. They
time.
left
Yeah.
more stuff again.
Yeah. I don't like this. I don't like this. But I think
You're telling me they look like children?
I think that's why I put him in the beautiful scene, is because like maybe he's opening up to like, okay, I can maybe get through the horrors, since the horrors occasionally like sound and look nice. This is okay. I can manage. So who do we think between those three is a good candidate for this mission?
I think Oscar would be fun because fishing is cool. I like that because you could be interested in the because we're focusing on the life of this planet.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Okay.
Afraid of the Dark is also fun.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
And a bit of a tank if we need it. He has 8 HP. I rolled max on the both D4 for him.
Oh
No.
my god, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Molly and Tilda, I got 3 and 4. Like,
Dang.
Brendan's got 7 hit points.
Oh, nice. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take
Oh, yeah.
Oscar.
cool.
Awesome. And then Melissa.
So, to throw in somebody who's not practical, I think, just to kind of screw things up a little bit.
Absolutely. As one should.
Taylor is not the only one who rolled a runaway character.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I have Jimmy. Jimmy is also a runaway who has a hobby of rock collecting.
Yurt.
And he is a overconfident gambler. That's his
Great.
Ooh.
You want to gamble with some rocks?
Yeah. He's just making little games of chance and betting rocks.
And
Rocks
he
are
is
now our
currently
currency.
missing 3 fingers. So he has bandages on both hands. He's missing his ring and his pinky finger on his right hand, and he's missing just the pinky on his left hand. So he has
not too bad. This is still
Not
very
awful.
functional.
Yeah.
He's got
My-
some grabbers.
my
Cue the
thought
clip
process
of Matt
being
screaming.
my thought process being like he was grabbing a handlebar or something,
Oh,
and
wow,
the force just kind of like blew,
Yeah.
you know,
Yikes.
did that. So that was my thought process. So him being the overconfident little shit that he is, I think he would be like, I volunteer as tribute, that kind
Yeah,
of
definitely.
personality. So he's gonna come
All
along
right.
and help. At a whole whopping 4 HP. He has a lot of drive though,
It's not
so
bad, though. Yeah.
All right. So,
Him and Catherine are on the
yeah,
same
who
boat.
is leading our? Well,
I
I guess I'll ask.
volunteer. No, that's
I'll ask. How do you guys want to be approaching this next area? Is it for the purposes of just pushing ahead, or is it more investigatory? So you have traverse or you have delve. You also have scout. Like if you're sending somebody ahead and you want to get a sense of what's over there or what's over there, we can kind of get a sense of kind of options. Or we can just push on ahead, or we can investigate everything as we see.
Feel like
So it's delve, traverse, and scout.
gotcha. So delve is like what is here. We're gonna investigate thoroughly.
It's like resource recovery and like very very like more meticulously like we're present in the
Traverse.
zone as opposed to just getting through it.
yeah.
I think traverse, right? We're moving forward. We're following the offerings. We're trying to
Yeah.
like find the next thing.
Okay.
We've got another team getting food and supplies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question
Yep.
about the
We're
offerings.
specifically investigating the offerings. I feel like Catherine's just like literally like we need to find these children.
Yeah, so I guess if traverse implies following the path of the offerings, then yes.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
like scout
Okay.
to like figure out where those offerings go and then traversing that way.
Yeah. I definitely think that we can easily follow the trail, so it probably leans us towards traverse.
Okay.
So for that, who would be leading the traverse action? that feels like they are most inclined towards that.
I'll chuck my hand up
I
and
was
spend a
gonna
drive.
say.
I've got plenty to spend, so I feel like I've had this. I've been hearing the whispering from the start, and it probably took a week before anyone else believed me.
Right.
And then now I had someone be like, "Oh, we need to figure out what's happening on this planet," and I finally had someone on my side. So I feel like I'm dragging Brandon along with me, being like,
Yeah.
"Look at this! This is people. This is human behavior." And then we get to the chickens, and it's like, "Oh no, this is odd. Let's see how this continues."
All right. This is gonna be I'm gonna have you roll. So we're gonna spend a
Okay.
drive, and then we're gonna roll essentially like a traversal action. So any tags that you want to call on for that are welcome. And I'm gonna tell you the DC is going to be 4.
Okay. And how do I roll again? What do I?
Yep.
Which
So it's gonna be
dice?
2d6 that we roll,
2d6.
and
Sorry, I
the way we
completely
interpret
forgot.
them is based on the number of tags. So if you have no tags that feel relevant at
Yeah.
the task, it's essentially disadvantage d6. If you have 2, if you have 1, you take the higher of the 2, and so it's keep low, keep high, keep both is the way that you think of it. So if you have 2 tags, you're adding them together.
Okay, so wildlife enthusiast, I believe, would be
Yeah.
something because
Yeah.
she's used to traversing areas
Following
to follow
animal
tracks
tracks.
and following.
Right.
Like, this is very similar. Because I don't like they're not trying to hide from us. It would be different, I think, if we were following a human
Exactly.
that was trying to hide. But this is definitely something. And then I don't know. I'm gonna try and put it out there, but she's bitterly jealous of others. She's like trying to prove herself right now. She's like
Ooh.
pushing to like to really show this to others. I don't know if that will count, but I'd
I'll
like
say
to
yes
toss
to
it in
that
there.
if you tell me who specifically she feels bitterly jealous of and wants to be better than.
Okay. Let's quickly. Can I just take 1 second to read?
Yeah.
We're doing Jimmy, overconfident
We
gambler,
got
rock.
Jimmy, Brandon, Oscar, right?
Oscar.
Yep.
And then who are you piloting, Haley?
Catherine.
I'm piloting Catherine.
Catherine, right. Okay, so yeah, you've got 2 runaways and Oscar.
So I think probably. Wait, what did she? Well, how did she get? She saw something alien. Sorry.
I also
No,
love
no,
this
you're
music
good.
that's going on
Yeah.
in the background.
It's vibing.
So
yeah, it's the traversal.
I would say that let's say she's jealous of Jimmy because he lost fingers and he's still overconfident about like pushing forward and jumping on missions and like it is like has no
Yeah.
like hasn't even seen the children, doesn't even care about that but is here like on
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
mission, and so she's just like, I have reasons and I'm scared. Why is he so confident? So like that's
great.
if I'll put that
Oh, I
out
love
there.
that.
He'll
I love
take that.
He's an overconfident little shit.
Awesome. All right, yeah. So that's 2. So you're gonna roll the 2 d6s and add them together.
Alright,
Trying to
You
be the-
hate me.
I got a 6.
Nice. All right, so that's 2 over. So I'll say as you are all traversing through this next area, you've kind of left that initial cage. You've entered into another one. And Haley, what is different about this this dome that we're entering into versus the one that we were just in? And I will actually give you a little bit of inspiration too on that. Not
Roll
not
a
in a
second.
inspiration dice. Yeah, go ahead and roll me a d20.
16.
Okay. So do you want inspiration of coloration or inspiration of an Earth-like proxy that would relate to how it's different? So Earth-like proxies would be like, like stuff that we're familiar with that might modify the environment
Oh
versus
yeah, cool.
just
So
like
I'm gonna do
coloration.
the
or
I'm gonna
something.
do the Earth
Okay.
because I've already got my idea, and so you tell
Yeah.
me which one's gonna fit better. So pretty
Yeah.
much this entire dome has been cultivated for like village living. There are
Oh.
actual like made homes, even if they're made out
Yeah.
of like the materials that are here. They are
Yep.
made like it's completely abandoned,
Yeah.
but it is like made up. Like there's a street.
Evidence
there's a
of
road.
natives. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
manipulated. And what
Yeah.
did you roll? Would
I
you
rolled
roll?
a 16.
Is it 16? Okay. So yeah, there's another notable thing about the environment on top of these strange essentially like pseudo structures and lived in spaces, and not necessarily infrastructure, but like you said, like there's clearly like blazed trails and paths, and like as you're walking, like normally you're like kind of ducking under some of these like lattice like structures, but these almost are like nice little archway tunnels
Yes.
through this.
Yeah, it's like they've actually grown the like that. It's like they almost put you know when you put I don't know what they're called, the plastic thing around a pumpkin, and then the pumpkin grows
Yes.
into the
Oh
shape.
yeah.
Like it's like they put up
Yeah.
structures
They
to
forced
make it grow,
a certain way.
Yeah, that's what they've
Whoa,
done.
okay.
I
Yeah.
love this so much.
And then this is what you rolled, and I'm curious as what you want to do with this, because this could be very straightforward or very abstract. You rolled orchid. So there's something about this environment that reminds you of an orchid.
Okay.
Wait, it could be literal, could be more
yeah,
abstract
I think
than
I'm
that.
going to do literal, and that there are farming plots with
Oh,
with orchids growing out of it like sunflowers. So like they're huge,
Yeah.
like tall things, huge things, and
Whoa.
they're singular. So rather than it being like a
yeah.
bush of, because like orchids kind of grow in that
they
like
got a
that
little
loopy
art
thing
Right.
with a
multiple,
couple of them.
Yeah.
with a couple of them. They're literally singular. So like they're
Mm.
singular big stalk things. And yeah, they're all facing like almost copy pasted like a painting.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know what they follow, but they're gonna follow something if we spend enough time here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not creepy at all.
love it. I love
So
it so
as
much.
we're getting into this, I'm just gonna call it a village, right?
Yeah.
Like as we enter into this little village, you guys see, you kind of, I think you walk into the like line, the crops of orchids. These they're like kind of like a slate blue flower, like this dark, similar to the icy blue of it, but like they're. Go ahead.
Can I change that actually? So
Yeah.
I want to go back to that 16 that I did with the colorization.
Yeah.
And this is the only color, like a different color that we've seen so
Ooh,
far.
okay,
So I
yeah.
want them to be
Maybe like
a
yeah,
like
go
a-
for it.
I don't know. I was gonna say green, but maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking like polar opposite, almost like a
Red.
really saturated red pink, kind of
Yeah,
like
let's go-
lipstick pink.
Yes. Yeah. Let's do like a.
Yeah.
Let's do a reddy pink. That yeah, and that's the only color. So like when we look in the village, maybe there are things that have been used to like dye or create
Yeah.
with this red, and so you see these blotches of red everywhere that is completely different than the planet we've seen so far.
Okay, and then roll me a d20 one more time. This is about
Sorry.
the orchids. I want to add something
3.
to them. 3. Interesting. Okay. So, as you're walking through these like kind of rows of these orchids, you can see that they are like this has to do with the reason probably why they were planted here. You can deduce from that, but it's very clear that they store a lot of the liquid that gets dropped from this like when the rain comes down. They kind of store it and they do something to that liquid and change it. Like you can see as you're walking by it, there is that same kind of gel-like liquid inside of that orchid, but it's been modified either by the pollen or whatever biology of this this orchid.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
how does it change that liquid?
So I think that when like as we're walking through the crops, we kind of stop to take a look at the one of them, and we look a bit closer, and you can actually see some of that Damascus steel, that tempered steel plant running in like a spiral up the thing, and in it is a channel that is actually turning that because it's more gloopy and sticky.
Yeah.
It's like filtering it into like an actual liquid, and it looks like it's draining somewhere, but you can't see where it goes under the dirt. But it looks like, and it's that's
Sounds like a rubber tree a little bit, how you like have the or maple syrup.
yes, Exactly. It's being harvested from these flowers via like a little U-shaped
Little channel, yeah.
plant that is like going all the way down.
Whoa, okay. And then as you all are entering in, you're starting to observe this. There's clear signs of sentient inhabitants that have been here, but this is very abandoned. And we're gonna go to break in just a second because I gotta use the restroom. But before we do that, what is, and I'll throw this to the whole group, whoever feels, beat each other up, feels inspired. What is maybe the first sign or evidence of like something going wrong with whatever this kind of delicate village ecosystem was? There's some sign of maybe why it's not currently inhabited.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking of all those stories of like abandoned ships and stuff, how everything was left exactly as it was.
Or like
Where
Krakatoa.
Yeah, so it's untouched. Everyone just got up and
Yeah.
Can
And
I
abandoned it for some reason.
can I add one detail to that? So it's like it's untouched, and there's one thing that's untouched that shouldn't have been, and that is there is a body that has not been picked over like we would usually expect.
Oh, like it's
We've always
not,
seen
like,
stuff
not
die
been
and immediately
decomposed.
gets decomposed. This one has died and it's just there. It's like it's not being decomposed. Nothing is rotting it. Nothing is eating it. Nothing is happening with this corpse.
So there's no way to tell, oh, this dude's been dead for a week, a month, like...
Just total stagnation.
And I think it's still a bit in the distance. Like you guys are all
Yeah.
scanning and you see there's just a
it's-
body on the ground.
You can see the edge of like where the cultivation of this area starts versus where it is wild, like it literally with the dome that covers it. And I feel like he's like inches inside, like inches, and then maybe you can see a little bit further out. There are like just these mounds, just mounds on the ground, just disappearing off into the distance, and you don't know what they are or if they are anything. But this person is on the inside of the cultivated land, and their body has not been touched.
Yeah.
And
make it
I
out.
think that while you're all walking kind of through this, all ogling and being cautious and then observing the body and kind of getting closer to it, there is a noise that begins to go overhead.
Is it the
And
giggling?
it is this like almost like a rustling of cloth, like if somebody was like shaking out a massive sheet or something like that. You can hear it as it kind of goes through the trees overhead, the like network of lattice, and there's no immediate sign of what it was, but let's see who's gonna find out what it is first.
Oh no.
Haley, you are Catherine. Okay.
Yes.
So, I would like Catherine to make a defense roll, and then we're gonna go to break.
Oh god.
Oh yes.
Why do I do
So
that?
this is same way as we roll everything else. I'm gonna tell you the DC. You call on
Okay.
tags. This is something you do not see coming. So essentially, make sure your tags would involve if you have anything to do with being surprised or something coming at you quickly. If not, you're rolling 2d6. Take the lower of the two. Your DC is 4.
I feel like you could use the wildlife enthusiast again, like
I know. Just I was
quick
like, pull that
reflexes
out
if
again.
a snake is gonna lunge at you, like, oh shit!
Oh, snake!
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm prepared
That's a
for
dirt!
wildlife in uncertain circumstances.
Uncircumcised stance?
Uncircumcised stances.
There's,
And then I think also maybe in the crash, seeing something alien has prepared her for like just the continuation of seeing weird things has just not like she just keeps seeing them. So she's just like, what else can get me? Like, what else is there? There's got to be more.
Sure, yeah.
Like
I'll take it.
yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, roll the 2d6.
Is that 2?
Add them together. Yep.
Oh, fuck yeah. I got an 11.
Nice.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
So as you hear this sound, kind of moves overhead, and then all of you are kind of like diverting your attention up. You feel both of your legs just go like into the ground by about a foot, and you're being pulled
Oh,
under. And you're able to
jeez.
like grab onto someone else or something nearby and like pull yourself out of the ground fairly quickly, but you just felt yourself sink through solid ground about a foot. And
Oh, shit.
we'll be right back.
Be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Mayday, we are going down. Mayday. It's like it's pulling us in.
We're back, everyone, with empty bladders and full hearts, back playing some Out of Orbit. I appreciate everybody that's here watching the stream. This has been such a fun game so far. If you are interested in this project, the book will be coming out later this year. I'm working real hard on it to get it out as soon as I can. There will be playtest stuff available in the near future, available over on itch.io. The link is in the chat over there. So please go drop me a follow on Itch. You can find random ramblings from me over on Blue Sky. If you want to look me up, it's just my name, Andrew Bowman. Otherwise, we're going to get right back into this because just a second ago, somebody got yoinked down about a foot into the soil. I believe that was Catherine.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
Yes.
And then we heard some rustling overhead in the trees of these massive, like, fungal dome networks that we are inside of, and standing in this strangely abandoned village with a undecayed corpse nearby. Pulling themselves out of the dirt as your feet were just yoinked down, the noise overhead. I am going to have us all begin an encounter. So this is not normal, like, everybody roll initiative. We don't do that. It is simply, I go, you go. And again, we had a little bit of a one pass through a more formalized encounter in our first campaign. But this is going to feel a little bit more comfortable for those of you familiar with that kind of combat-y scenario. However, much like games like Mothership, y'all aren't the most combat savvy individuals. So you're just mainly trying to survive the threat and continue on. That said, we don't entirely know what our threat is. And guess what? I don't either. So,
Surprise!
surprise, surprise. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise.
So, I would like, who hasn't rolled in a while?
I feel like
All
Mel
right.
hasn't rolled.
Mel. Yeah.
Me.
That seems right. Mel, roll me a d20 and then tell me top or bottom.
Is
Not
switch an
You do this to
option?
preference,
yourself.
just pick
You-
one.
You do
I was just gonna
this to yourself, you know.
I was just gonna say, is switch an option? But anyway.
No.
Hey! Oh. Fuck, I just made it harder on myself.
What's happening?
I rolled a 19.
Okay.
So I'm
Pick higher
gonna
or lower?
say lower. Cause numbers.
Interesting. So
I fucked up. Great.
No. I mean, it's all bad.
That's reassuring.
So, we
The one time I
are
roll well.
dealing with something. Essentially, we just rolled on an Earth-like proxy for what this is. That it's essentially pulling people into the dirt. Whatever is moving overhead is playing into this. So we are aware that probably. Remind me, you are Jimmy right now?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
Jimmy is going to see something that is essentially akin to a very large wasp that is the same color as the actual trees themselves. The sound of like rustling are these very large wings, very draconic almost, but it's much more wasp-like. And I roll me another d20 real quick.
Okay. Here we go. Yeet. That's a 5.
5. Okay, so it coexists alongside another entity within this space. And so we're not entirely sure of the relationship, but it's not the only thing involved. Obviously, there's something under the ground, and now there's wasps in the air. So as we are realizing, Catherine just got yoinked into the ground, there's these wasps, potentially more than one above us. We definitely can see one of them. Jimmy has eyes on it. I'm going to have all of you essentially roll like the equivalent of like what we're going to say for initiative. This is if you guys can beat me, the majority of you beating the DC, then you guys will go first. If you don't, I go first. So the DC is going to be a 4. Again, this is about awareness, so look for tags that feel relevant to that. You don't have to check all of them through me, but you'll know if you're choosing tags that are not appropriate.
But my rock collecting works in this, Andrew.
I'm gonna keep myself honest, and I'm just gonna do one with security officer. I feel like Oscar is just in general aware, right? So roll 2, take the highest. That's a 3. I ain't doing it.
All right.
Oh no. So if Brandon has a hobby of martial arts and a background of running away, so I feel like he's always like on the balls of his
kind of
feet.
skittish, and
he's skittish. So is that
I'll get that.
double what I roll?
Yeah, I was.
No, so you roll 2d6,
and
add them together.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I meant yeah.
Yeah.
Brain and mouth don't work together sometimes. 2 and a 4. Okay, so I got 6.
Awesome. Great. Very good. Very good.
Catherine just used her wildlife enthusiast again for the 1, and I rolled a 4. That's my bigger die.
Okay, and I will remind us, because we haven't really gotten into this side of it, but you have drives. So if you don't like what you rolled, you can spend a drive to do a reroll.
Yeah.
And that's both dice get scooped back up and get re-rolled. So right now we've got 2 failures and 1 success, I believe. Is that correct?
Is it meets it beats it?
So the DC was 4. Did you say 3?
Haley got a 4.
I got a 4.
Oh, okay. Meets it beats it. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so success.
2 successes, 1 failure.
All right.
I am the failure.
And then
do you want to roll for drive? Like roll a drive? Oh, I'm happy to spend it for you.
Mel still needs to go, right?
Mel needs to go too.
So my assumption would be the fact that this is my argument. So the fact that Jimmy saw the wasp, and then tying that in with seeing Catherine getting yoinked, there's some symbiotic relationship bullshit happening. The other thing I'm thinking of is the overconfident gambler. So taking that first bit of info of like, okay, so we're being like double timed, so to speak. There's something in the ground and there's something in the air. Jimmy having, I don't think, any real sense of consequences of like what's happened, considering he's running around with like, 7 of his fingers. He's gonna Leroy Jenkins the shit out of this, and I think he's just gonna run to like try and disorient whatever the fuck is happening. Because we're all kind of grouped together anyway at the point, so that's like his prospect of like, oh, okay, we're all here. I'm just gonna go over there. So, wishful thinking, I think. I don't know if that's a valid argument.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give you guys my first no.
Okay, that's fine.
I think that's I don't know if that applies as much. I like that you're playing into the gambler side, so I think you definitely got 1 tag out of that. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Could I argue rock collecting, where I grab said rock, I collect it, and then throw it at them? No? Okay.
That may be for an attack later where you're choosing to do that. This is if you're aware of what's happening and if you can go first or second. So what'd you get?
It's okay. We're going to find out. I got 5. Woohoo!
Great. Okay,
I roll
so y'all are
for
gonna go
once.
first. So here's what we get to do. We enter into a planning phase. This is where you guys get to decide what the heck you want to do. Immediate surroundings are you're in this kind of pseudo village. There's no like explicit structures. There might be some lean-tos and like the best like proxy for like one of the only like actual structures is like a larger tent. So it's still open on the walls or whatever. Maybe some equivalent of bed rolls throughout. But there's no like blatant structure to go inside or anything. So with that being your surroundings, you guys can kind of decide what you all want to do. All you need to decide is your the way you're approaching this encounter. So this is either pushing forward, pulling back, and then you can do that at a greater magnitude in either direction. So make sure you got the rules pulled up there for yourselves, and you're going to be giving me a modifier. I'm going to tell you what my contributing modifier right out the gate is. Mine's a 4 right away. So with that, so we're starting at 4. So with that, what do you guys want to do? So think through the plan and then tell me what your positioning for your individual character is going to be.
Grabbing the rules because I forgot. Hang on.
The leading
And
up
just to re-up.
I gotta open up the rules page.
the leading
I got
up
it.
to
To
the
re-up
4
the,
made me
the
skittish from my original thought.
The ground itself is a threat right now, and stuff in the sky. So y'all are gonna threat sandwich. And the main thing is, it basically pushing forward is going to be a +2, pulling back is going to be a -2. But you can do those to greater effect if you decide to go further, and it can up your risk more or hurt you all, because we're establishing the DC for everybody's actions this round.
Yeah.
What is the plan as a group? Are we trying to find a safe place, or are we going to try and attack?
I don't think any of us really have any weapons, so
Jimmy
Brandon was
does
gonna-
not have the capability of fighting anything because
I think the only
Brandon
one
was gonna
capable of fighting
push-
is, or at least experienced in fighting, is Oscar.
Yeah.
And I was
I'll say Oscar has a gun.
Brandon-
I'll say Oscar has a
Oscar's a
gun,
gun.
then,
Okay.
for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that we had a couple aboard that we didn't really get. We jumped into the middle of a mission, so we didn't really divvy out anything to that effect.
Okay.
And Brendan has martial arts, but that's close combat, so I don't think he's going to do
Yeah.
much.
No.
No gun fu.
Unfortunately, not.
What if we grab some of this liquid and try and camouflage ourselves with it? What if what if maybe they were using it and that's why the body's still there and hasn't been picked at? What if we like rub it all over ourselves? Oil up! Time to oil up!
oh god.
Yep.
Is there just like blotches of this stuff everywhere, or is it was all being like cultivated and like taken?
Yeah, there was
somewhere?
like the orchids had like it in. I'll say there's probably like you probably do find some jars, and like bowls that have the refined liquid in them nearby.
I have no idea what else we could do.
I feel
I think-
feel like
I mean, you also can just all say you want to run, and like that's fine.
Yeah.
I think
And just
I think-
try and get away from it.
if in this moment Catherine is stepping back from leadership role, like, oh shit, it's gone to hell, then maybe Oscar is filling those boots and is more like, find a defensible position, move over there, and is just going to not using the gun because doesn't want to use it frivolously and like run out of ammo when we need it most. And so it's just gonna grab, you said there were these like lean-tos, so just grabbing like a support structure and just waving it around like bow staff style to like at least keep the hornets from being very disincentivized to come close, because like he's not trying to hit them, but if they come close they're probably gonna get whacked for free.
Yeah. And they're not huge, but they're like, I mean, I'd say like vulture size for wasps.
Yeah.
Like they're big.
Yeah.
They're not like a dragon, right? Like it's, you know, a big wasp.
So
I think with that, Catherine is going to try and like, with the leftover pieces, make us a like, you know, those wildlife huts that you hide in when you do like photography, so you like no one can like the animals don't see you're there. So she's gonna try and like make some sort of thing while Oscar is like defending this area.
And for mechanical purposes, I'm gonna do the pull back -2 modifier. So I have to do a test, but if it's success, I will also grant a temporary drive to another survivor. So I
Great.
can maybe give us a
Cool.
reroll on that.
Yep. And then Haley, you're kind of putting some stuff together, it seems like. So it seems more active. I'd say that's probably a push forward at least a little bit, but I'll let you decide magnitude there.
Yeah. What was the test again?
It starts at 4. So my modifier is a 4. Matt's
4, so
contributing
now
a
minus
minus 2
2
right now. So we're
Okay.
at 2 essentially.
So I think I'll probably do. What do you guys think? What do you think?
I've got decent tags for this, so I should be able to roll. Like, I could probably beat a 4. So if you wanted
Alright.
to do a +2, or even,
Yeah.
yeah, just to even it out.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll do a +2, and I am trying to create some sort of barrier.
Some
with
safe covering, like
Yes.
immediate, for
Yeah,
people
and
to get
I'm
within.
also probably putting things on the floor. Like I
Yeah.
probably I said that there was a road, so maybe we've stepped onto the bricks of the road or something like
Yeah.
that's been created, and I'm gonna put something over that. So hopefully there's some sort of top and bottom
Damn it.
protection. So maybe a +3
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
to do the flooring as well.
Yeah.
Because I believe adding that extra on probably tagged it up. I'd say just to leave it honest.
Someone else could do, like, Mel and Taylor, y'all could do -2s or -1s to help balance that and keep it achievable.
By pulling back from a defensive action.
Because the one thing I'm thinking of, can I do the idea again, Andrew, of just Jimmy running around like an idiot? It doesn't work
just
in
to
this
be a
instance.
distraction?
Oh,
Yeah.
distraction? Ah, distraction.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes.
Okay,
I will
would that
say
be
you have a
defensive or
negative
offensive?
tag, so that will help other people, but you personally, it's going to be harder to defend. So you're getting a if you're
Jimmy's here
blatantly
for-
trying to be a distraction,
Yeah.
I think that you probably have 2 negative tags. Like, so basically that means you'd need more than 2 tags to get in a good way of rolling. So you're likely rolling 2d6, take the lower of the 2.
Because
Even
would that
if you
be
have
push
good
forward
tags to
or
bump it up.
pull back?
So that'd be pull back. Because
Okay,
it's defending other people.
But if we have
So,
an achievable modifier, that's not the worst to roll to and take the
Okay.
It just means it's bad for you
Yeah.
and good for them. Yeah.
He's a gambler. He's here for a short time, not a long time.
That
so.
makes sense. Yep.
Are you doing -2 or -1?
I'm thinking -2.
Cool.
Okay. Which is great because you're throwing a drive to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
If that.
Because I'm
happens.
thinking
So,
either Oscar or Catherine at that point for
Mhm.
that extra drive. So,
cool. So I think we're at 3 then because it went
net
4.
of 3. Yep. So it's 4
2.
-2 plus 3 -2. So it's just
Yep.
a net of 3 right now.
Yep. Cool. And then Taylor.
Okay. Is this wasps like being aggressive toward us, or they've just made their presence known and they are
No,
being
like
aggressive?
they're
Okay.
starting to like coalesce and like make their way towards you all. It's pretty clear there's more than one that are
Okay.
threatening you at this point. Yep. It's
Okay,
less
and-
like round by round combat and much more like this whole
Immediate.
moment is playing out, and yeah, we're doing a roll, but it's not like 6 seconds of combat. It's like
An
a couple
immediate.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So what was Catherine doing? She was grabbing like stuff to
She's
put
like,
over them.
I'm imagining it's like getting like a tarp and like going over onto the road where like you could kind of cover more than just yourself and make like a safe space for people to get away from wasps and not directly on dirt that could potentially pull you under.
Okay. And sorry, drawing a map in my own mind. Was Catherine dragged into the dirt, like on the dirt, like she'd accidentally stepped off
Yeah,
the
she was
path?
standing on the dirt.
Yes.
Yeah, she was like
Okay.
standing
I
over
was
on the
with the
dirt near
orchids.
the, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And where is the body? Is the
I
body
think
on
it's
the
near
path, or
some
is
of
it
the
also-
structures. Yeah, it was probably just over by one of the structures.
Okay.
So
And it's
yeah,
on the path, or
don't
is it
care.
like on the dirt? Okay.
yeah, I don't
It's
care.
on the dirt, I believe, because
Yeah,
we said it was off. We said it was
Right,
off
because
to
it
the
was
side.
in. Yep. Okay, so yeah, it's not on a path or anything.
Okay. I feel like this body is going to hold some evidence, but I don't know. I don't really have anything.
You could be an idiot and run around as a distraction like me. So
No,
You could
well,
also, a narratively simple answer is just doing a -1. You're helping whatever.
yeah,
and then go
I was-
dive
Catherine is
under the
doing.
tarp.
Yeah,
Mm.
like you're
Yeah.
you're just helping to keep like pieces stable while Catherine is doing the aggressive building.
Yeah, because I was going to see if I could invoke a flashback, but I don't think that's going to really work. Yeah, I'll do a -1. I'll help Catherine.
All right. So you're gonna run over there. Catherine grabs a tarp, starts to try and make a structure. Let's start rolling. Who wants to go first? I think maybe distraction first.
Mm-hmm.
I was-
Yeah. Let's
I was
start
gonna
with
say-
Jimmy.
I was gonna do Oscar first because I'll have
Okay.
positive tags, and this way I can give a temporary drive to
That's true. Yep.
Jimmy in case. Because right now I think we're at a 2.
That's
The,
fair.
the only
That's
thing that
fair.
cocks it up is a 1.
Yeah,
and this
we're
way
at
I
a 2.
at least
Yep.
I can at least give Jimmy a reroll off of this.
What? You want Mel to have another chance to not mess
I mean,
it up?
it would be hilarious. But
You have such little faith in me. It's warranted, Matt.
So-
Just
I'm gonna say security officer for 1. Oscar's used to like high pressure situations,
Yeah.
having to defend himself, that kind of thing. I'll make a pitch for experiencing post-crash hallucinations and flashbacks, being like he's been dealing with things in the corners of his vision, and so he's not even looking at the wasps necessarily. He's not target tracking. He's just making
Yeah.
a big cloud of mess. And if that's a no, then I can just
Yeah.
do 1 tag and just
Yeah.
roll and take the higher.
I think 1.
Cool.
I think 1. Yep.
Doing it. Roll, take the higher, and it's against a 2. So
Yep.
this is perfectly achievable unless I double nat 1.
Yep. Exactly. And in that case,
A 2 and
God
a 4.
wills it.
2 and a 4. So 4.
Okay.
So
Great.
success, and I'll chuck that temporary drive over towards Jimmy, who does have to
Yep.
roll and take the lowest
Yep.
against a 2.
All right.
wait.
So Jimmy, you are just kind of like, whoa, like just running around being a distraction.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me your roll.
Okay, and it's 2d6.
So it's going to be roll
whatever's
2d6,
left.
take the lowest. Yeah,
Okay.
unless you've got like 3 justified tags, you're
No,
not getting
'cause
better
I-
than that. So
No, I think literally the only thing for Jimmy. Why in the hell am I all the way over there? Don't do that. I think literally the only thing would be his flaw, which is an overconfident gambler. He's thinking, I can
Yeah.
outrun this shit. This is fine. I think that's literally all
Yeah.
that he's got.
okay. All right, roll them
'cause-
dice.
Okay, here we go.
You get a free re-roll if you need it. What'd you get?
Double 6?
I got double sixes.
Let's go!
Incredible!
Let's go.
That's awesome. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy,
That's
you
wonderful.
fucking bastard.
So, yeah,
So,
that's
I
great.
have a
Why don't
theory.
you- Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking, Jimmy, I think, being the overconfident little shit he is, I feel like he's one of those people where he's seen the videos of like Animal Planet or whatever, where they say like, oh yeah, if you're going like in a zigzag, a crocodile won't get you. So he's thinking, fuck yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
So I think he just starts literally doing
great at
zigzags across
zigzags.
the dirt.
That's awesome.
And I think he's actually gunning for where the body is.
Mhm.
Because I think he's in that shot of like, okay, it's like untouched, so like maybe this is
Right.
hollowed ground or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he like kind of darts right for, because I picture it's like away from everybody else is the first thing, and then the second thing
Mhm.
being like maybe this is safe for me. So one selfish,
All
one
right.
not so selfish.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. You get over near the body. What did you want to do with it specifically? Just be near it?
I wanted to add a mysterious element to it too for the story.
I'm here for it.
I feel like Jimmy kind of like trips up at the end when he like kind of does that last leg to like reach
Yeah.
for that area, and he lands on the body, and I think when he looks at it, it's not an actual person. It's just a blank face, and the body is like not living, so it's not even a real thing. And I think it kind of freaks him out a bit.
Yep.
Enough to distract him just enough where he forgets for that one split second, like, oh yeah, there's like, you know, the worm movie is happening and we have something underground.
Yep. I
Just
think
kinda
that, so
gunning
you
for
go
it.
over there, you stumble, you land near this body thinking it's going to be a safe place, and you discover quickly this is not a person. This is essentially like the bait.
A bait. Yep.
This is like the anglerfish little glowy knob out front as you hit the ground, and this feels soft, like squishy, almost like a balloon, right? And as you kind of pull yourself off of it, it just goes and gets like pulled like a tentacle underground, and you can see the ground kind of crumble around it. And yeah, that's all for right this second. But yeah, you kind of rewind. You were just dodging out of the way. Some of the wasps were like following you as they're getting kind of like swatted at, and as Matt. Oh crap! Which one? Who are you?
Oscar.
Sorry, Matt. Oscar, as waving kind of like essentially like a broken tent around of just like. And Haley, for Catherine, you kind of grab some of that tarp, you run over towards the road, you kind of throw it over yourself, you start to try and like set it up. Go ahead and make your roll for me.
Yeah, I kick some fence down. Like we use some bits and pieces, and I think I'm gonna do my best. So wildlife enthusiast, because I'm relying on that one a lot. But that's what she's all about.
Okay,
So she's used to making like tents to like be able to spy
Outdoorsy
on
stuff, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And she's making it blend in with the area because she's such a good artist.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know. I think this is a high stress moment for artistic.
No, that's okay. I would just take. If you
Yep.
let me have the one, I'll take the one.
Yep. Go for it.
I got a 4.
Okay, so that's good. That's good. Also, I will say we still have a floating drive from
I was
2
gonna ask,
people
can that-
actually.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have 2 effective floating drive. Typically, you want to assign it, but because both of those opportunities for drive were essentially distractions, they're kind of for whoever needs it.
Cool.
Okay, so you did great. So you get this, you start setting up this little like safe structure, and then Brandon kind of guns over to kind of get in there, help you set it up. You don't have to roll anything, Taylor, for that. So you just get in there and you start setting it up with him. Awesome. As you're all doing this, the little like body now gone, and the wasps kind of like weaving overhead, you see this like crack run up the nearest like tree, and like almost like eggshell like breaking out is like this long like bright, somebody give me a color.
Green.
Green like oozy like tentacle shoots out of that broken bit of the tree and snatches one of the wasps and just pulls it back into the tree itself, as you just see it kind of like get like hit the crack and then just get like completely crunched in half as it gets pulled into the tree.
That's why the trees are hollow.
And then I'm gonna need, let's see, it right now 2 of you are definitely on dirt. That's gonna be
Jimmy
Matt and Mel.
Yep.
So both of you need to
Yeah.
make some defense tests against this oozy dirt monster. You're gonna get yoinked. So
Yep.
again, we only have to beat. We're at 2, right? That was
We're
our round
two
DC?
right now. Yeah, that was our
Yep.
round DC.
So you guys still just got to go against that 2. I will say those negative tags are still active for you there, Mel. So you're just rolling and just raw dog.
Just 1 die, right?
Just we'll roll 2 and take the
Take the
lower.
Okay. I'll just I pray for snake eyes again.
We
just
have
double
floating
6s.
drive.
That's true.
Wait, you can only use one of them.
Yeah.
You guys
Oh, yeah,
essentially
that's
could
true, yeah.
help each other right now. So
Okay. Huh. says the lowest, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I got a 4.
Great.
My lowest was a 5.
Mill's
I
rolling
rolled a
high.
5 and a 6.
Man. All right. You guys are doing great. So, yeah, tell me how you guys get out of the way of this threat. Go ahead, Mel.
I think just seeing, it's just all adrenaline rush, I think, for Jimmy. Like, seeing the body just immediately vanish and disappear, and then realizing, shit, this isn't safe ground anyway. And just, like, scrambling on hands and feet, you know, to, like, get himself back up and just boogie the other direction. Like, going back exactly the way that he came.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly it for him. It's just like, okay, don't stop.
Yeah.
Gotta keep moving. Don't stop.
Is he
Can't
kind
stop,
of
won't
like
stop.
isolated now from the rest
I
of the
think
group?
he is isolated, yeah. And he
okay.
wants to try and get back towards everybody else at this point.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, Matt.
I think Oscar's just high knees. He's just like
Yeah.
feels that tension start and is just like, oh shit, no, and just like stomp, big boots stomping,
like the
running away.
ground.
Yeah.
You start to, I think Oscar picks up on the way that this is moving through the ground is actually kind of sonically related. So where like whatever vibrations are happening make the dirt loose to where you would fall into it like almost like it's vibrating it so much that it becomes like sand.
Yeah.
And so as this kind of like thrum goes around him, he just starts to get high knees as his feet are just kind of like kicking up dirt as it's getting softened around him. He runs over towards the path and gets out of the immediate threat. Some of these wasps now kind of like whirling around, realizing that there's a predator within range. They seem to be doing a bit more fleeing. But you see like one of the nearby like trunks just kind of explode as this like portion of like ooze just kind of sloughs off, grabbing onto another one, almost like swinging on the rest of the tree as it swats and just catching it like bees in honey. Just grabs some of the wasps into itself, kind of flips and then sloughs down onto the road not far from you all. It is effectively a gooey green substance that is moving towards you all with like pseudopod-like tentacles.
Does it feel like that's the same thing as what's underground, or is this a new danger?
It probably the same stuff that's underground, yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, I pictured the dead body wearing a suit and holding a briefcase, and I don't know why. But now this green sludge monster is also wearing a suit and holding a briefcase as it like slodges over. Like it's like,
I told my wife I was going to bring dinner tonight.
Amazing.
And so I'll say as this sludge begins to move towards you all, I'm gonna roll a die. Taylor. Brandon is looking, like as you're kind of under the tarp, you see this like big old ooze land on the road, just like maybe 15 feet from you. And something about it deeply unsettles you beyond the horror of its natural threat. But in this moment, something tying to a far more personal fear happens with this ooze. What exactly that Brandon sees?
All right, now I'm going to invoke the flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't done one of them yet. So, seeing this thing sloth in front of him, this moment of pure panic seizes him, and suddenly he's back in a city on Earth, in a back alleyway that's filthy. It has graffiti upon graffiti all over the walls, signs and wanted posters, along with different like comedians and concerts that are coming up that have just been like ripped off, stuck, ripped down. Like, it's disgusting. And he was being chased. essentially some muggers were after him and thought he could escape down this alleyway, realizing too late that it was a dead end, turns around to face these muggers, hoping to rely on his martial arts, even though at the time he was still relatively new to the hobby. But as they get halfway down the alley, something just falls from the sky in this bioluminescent green flash and lands on top of the assailants, and they just disintegrate and like melt under this thing so quickly that they don't even get a chance to scream before it just sort of like oozes and like pulls itself into a drain grate and disappears into the sewers.
So in this moment, are we gonna go into this scene more, or do you? Or I'm fine with that. Exactly how you told it. Do you want to flash back into the moment?
Oh,
Or forward into
right.
the
I
moment?
forgot that these are played out.
You're fine. We can do it. Well, we can do it
I
both
think-
ways. We can do it both ways.
I think the way you did it was perfect. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to
Okay.
change any
I just
of
wanted
it.
to clarify. Yeah,
No.
definitely.
No, no,
Great.
That's for the people
So
that didn't
as
get a chance
in
to
this
scream.
moment, in this moment, like that moment is evoked, but practically as if the planet or this entity is aware of that memory. What do we, like the other individuals probably aware of that happens that evokes that memory?
It's been a obviously very scary, very stressful situation with wasps and this thing trying to pull us into the ground. And in that moment of frozen terror, not only does he look absolutely petrified, there's also that look of recognition. So anyone who's looking at Brandon would go, huh, you've seen this before.
Yeah.
And it obviously scared the living shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Hmm.
No, I like that. I like that.
Leaving it
So
open.
Why
definitely.
do you know
As-
what this thing is?
Yeah, why? What the
Yeah.
heck? Yeah,
Is
why
it-
have you seen
as
this
it's
stuff
walking
before?
towards you, it takes the form of the two muggers, but like in like a dripping, like Cronenberg monster where there's like
Yeah.
they're both like together in their
Yep.
limbs, and then
Yep.
it just becomes the blob again.
Yeah.
Yep, that happens. Yes.
Did Brandon
Maybe
just
it was
see that,
off.
or did it do it? Like
Yeah.
unreliable
Ooh.
narrating.
It's Schrodinger's blob.
Sure.
Exactly. That's what they called me in high school.
No, I'd say if it does do that morph thingy,
Yeah,
everyone sees these two
they do
figures,
see that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
and then they're absorbed back in.
So we don't know what
Yeah.
they mean, but we see it
No,
almost
but
look
you
like
saw two people for a minute. Yeah. And so it just continues to approach. You can hear the wasps as they're mostly fleeing. You can hear further up. There's more blob entities in this area. You can hear breaking through some of the trees above, and essentially like eating up the wasps. The wasps don't seem like a current threat so much anymore, as they were either like deflected by way of like the tarp and you guys being safe, and the looming threat of these ooze that are seemingly coming for them. So you all now standing on the road here with a very present threat down the road from you. We're going back to planning. So we reset, no more floating drive. What is the plan for this round?
Do we know what our
actually,
number is?
Oh yeah, that's where I was going. So the threat this round is 5.
Oh shit! Not good.
Nope.
Not good.
Nope.
Not good.
And again, to feed into while you guys are thinking about what you might plan, the ooze itself just kind of like, and then like these pseudopods are kind of like pulling the mass itself, almost like as the pseudopods go out, and then it like follows like a slinky, like itself oozing forward. Rather than just like sliding like a slug, it's almost like it's walking, but in an untold number of limbs moving forward.
Kind of like a wave crashing over
Yeah.
itself as it takes
Yeah,
a
exactly.
step with it, growing
Yep.
behind it. Blech, I hate it.
I love it.
Like what we've created.
I want to try throwing some of the liquid at it and see if whether or not this place
What they were
did do
harvesting?
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
whether or not it does anything or not.
Yep.
Okay, wait.
But I think someone should. Someone should throw it. I don't know if Catherine is the best bet for it.
I was gonna say, Oscar is going to like, I'll do covering fire. Someone use something that can probably hurt it, and because he's thinking like, this thing looks horrifying. Bullets probably don't work, but maybe they'll hurt it and slow it down. So he's just going to like, since it's moving slow enough, he'll use the gun he's got to like shoot the pseudopods that are reaching forward to just like slow it down and like make it a single good target for somebody else to use something more meaningful against it. So I'm gonna do another -2 to hopefully help out a bit.
Not so much to damage, but to like just slow it. And it's
shooting
it's
to
gelatinous.
slow and like constrain so that somebody else can land a better blow.
Right. Okay. What are we thinking?
Is there anything flammable? Like these are like
Is it flammable?
There's like cloth and stuff around, probably. Yeah.
I can make a.
We had
I'd
like
to.
tarps.
Cocktail.
I'll pitch an idea if anyone feels like this is interesting. This tree stuff is making me think of there is a native species of bamboo in the U.S. that's like almost extinct, but like the indigenous people will use it for everything because it's so hyper dense and strong. And like if this thing came out of the trees but wasn't dissolving them, could you use like break off one of these weird tree limbs and use it as a spear against it?
Ooh, I thought you were gonna go for napalm. I'm thinking of all the flammable shit right now. God damn it.
Napalm
Anyway.
also sounds like a great solution space to operate in against the blob.
Fire! No. That would.
Maybe.
I do like that idea.
Can I say that we picked up the dollar chicken amalgamation when we were collecting like all of the hunting supplies, and maybe we can chuck some meat at
Chickens?
it?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I thought you meant a whole chicken, just like yoink it.
Basically.
I think
It's like two
Catherine's
chickens.
going to do that. She passes the gel over. She just wants to take a drink of that, see what that's like for two. And then she's going to throw the dollar chickens at this green thing and see if she can. I don't know. She's been almost attacked by a pack of wolves before, and she threw some rations at it, and it was okay.
It feels like a push forward, probably at least a 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Pretty easy, probably a 1.
A 1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that let's see, we've got a -2 and we got a +1, so we are at
4.
We are at
4.
6.
4.
Sorry, 4. Yep, we're at 4. Mel, Taylor.
have we like made it towards like the back? So
Yeah,
there
I
was
think
this...
that you guys are skirting the edge of this camp while this has all been going on. Like you came in through the plants and like where it was being cultivated. You like approached where the body and more of like the houses were, and I think you're kind of now skirting the other side of that bit of village.
because we could see like off into the distance that there were other mounds like outside this dome.
I think they're the concave like inverted mounds, like
Yes,
graves.
I
Oh,
that
okay.
have been
I should have
emptied.
I should have said it that way.
Okay. Yeah, this thing seems to be actively targeting us, and there was like another one that's like attacking the
There's
wasps
more.
as well. There's
Yep,
more of
there
it.
seems to still be some like in the dirt or whatever. It's like a
Yeah.
part of it kind of came off and is threatening you all.
Yeah, and we've never encountered this in our camp or like near the bodies.
Nope.
So I would like to. I think it's a push back. just using the tarp and everything that we've got
Mhm.
and like try and maneuver it so we're getting like back towards where those divots are and just get out of this particular dome. I think we're safer outside this dome than we are in
It's
it.
more like just fleeing, pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, but
getting the
keeping
heck
top.
away.
Yeah, keeping the tarp,
Yeah.
like I'll try and like hold it and manipulate it so it's still covering Catherine and
Okay. Yeah.
Oscar. I'm not quite sure where Jimmy is in retrospect.
Jimmy's been everywhere. So
but Jimmy's everywhere, man. So yeah,
Gotta
just
go fast.
Just
Jimmy said.
gotta go fast.
yeah, we gotta get out. We gotta get
Sonic.
out. So yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
pull
Okay.
back
So
and
-2.
flee.
Yep. So we're down to 3.
Yes.
No, we're
No, we were
or is-
we were at 4.
We're at 2. We're at 2
We're
now.
at 2 now.
Okay.
So we're at 2 now.
Okay. We're at 2.
Now you can get aggressive. B-E,
Mm.
aggressive.
B,
Yeah,
B,
so
aggressive.
Who wants to roll?
Yeah. What's Jimmy want to do?
What does Jimmy
Oh,
want
yeah.
to do?
Because there's 2 inclinations, I think. Because Jimmy predominantly wants to get back with the group.
Yeah.
So it's
Also
either
a gambler.
yeah, he is a gambler.
Also
Go for broke, go big or go home. It's either I would say that Jimmy would do one of 2 things. I feel like he would, with going back to the group, he wants to increase his odds of living by assisting in the retreat portion where he's
Yeah.
helping Catherine with the tarp thing. Or he goes for broke and he goes grab a stick from the tree to shish kebab the shit out of it.
I feel like shish kebab, Shawshank Redemption.
All right,
Let's
he's gonna shish
let's
kebab.
get bold and aggressive because the situation
Kind
seems to be
of grabs
escalating.
the
We
stick
need to
and
do
just
some damage.
runs. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Definitely.
I think he's gonna Leroy Jenkins the shit out of this thing. Yeah, so he's gonna try and grab a stick from one of the trees, like a low hanging branch
Mhm.
or whatever, and just kind of like rip it off.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna Camelot Lance the shit out of this thing
Yeah,
and just like kind
definitely.
of charge right for it.
So you want to do a put +2 or +1?
Oh.
We're at 2.
I think we're gonna do. I
You
want to
also have
say,
drive.
yeah. So if I say +1, we're adding the modifier, so it would be
You
either
put it at
3.
3 for everybody.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. I'm
4
gonna
is
say add
Pretty
a.
achievable.
You've also got drive.
Yeah.
That's true. You know what? Fuck it. Why not? We're gonna do for +2 and try and get the shit out of this thing.
It's a
So-
one-shot, baby.
It's a one shot, baby.
It's a one-shot,
All right,
baby.
do it.
All right. So let's start with that because I think pretty much that, and then the fire, the shots that are going off are the more aggressive actions, and then otherwise we're kind of just like fleeing and getting away. Correct? Am I missing
Yes.
anything?
So mine's actually a pullback. So I was gonna do the shots to
Right,
pull
right.
back to set
Yours is
up
defensive,
for
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
To set up for
Well,
Jimmy's,
yeah, those
or
are-
Jimmy's.
Yeah, I think those are the most like interacting with the opposition. So let's
Yeah.
start with Matt, and then let's do Jimmy, and then roll some GTFOs. All right.
Go, Matt,
So
go.
Matt, go ahead and give me your roll here.
So security
So
officer.
probably pulling on the security officer, and
I don't think any of the others
I don't
really
know.
apply
yeah.
unless we want to do.
Do you
want to
throw a? Do you want to do a flashbang?
Why don't we do a? None of my questions feel like
That's fine.
they're angling towards something that would be applicable here, unless somebody wants to do a flashback to a fishing trip where my dad taught me something relevant, because my hobby is fishing. Is that question speaking to anyone? Because that would be like an actual improv scene, or do we want to just roll these dice and see if I can get a 4 or higher on one of them?
Go roll the dice.
Okay.
I've
I
got an
can't
idea
think
for
of any
fishing.
question.
I've
What?
got an idea for fishing. I'll
You-
get in
Oh, you
there.
do?
You'll get in there? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, I'll
do,
get in
I'll
there.
let's do
assist.
flashback then.
With you as
Yeah.
the inspiration, Andrew, because I need assistance.
Nice. So
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
Uh,
see.
Andrew, you're playing the role of my dad.
I'll be
Oscar's
dad. I'll be dad.
You'll be dad.
Yep.
Okay. So,
How old are we? That's what I want to know. Like,
Ooh,
because
I
how
think-
old is Oscar right now?
Yes,
Probably.
let's set that up. I think Oscar right now is like low 30s. I think this
Okay.
is probably like low 20s, like, or maybe like 19, about to go
Okay.
into like the service.
Dad's like 50,
whatever.
maybe 60.
Yeah. Like it's probably like
Yep.
about to head out into whatever like the recruitment pipeline
Yeah.
is to eventually be security officer,
Yep.
spacefaring, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the framework, is that like this is potentially the last conversation we're having together.
Yeah.
So we're doing it on a fishing trip.
Yep.
Always been like a bonding situation. And
Yep.
yeah, I think I'll lead off with just having Oscar. Lines are cast. They're in that like quiet, wait for fish to bite mode.
Mhm.
What do you think death is like?
Yeah. A whole lot of nothing, kid. I
There's
think that
nothing.
we get one chance. I think we get here to we get to be here to do something that matters, and do it to our damnedest, and leave something that matters for as long as we possibly can. And that's what we get. And what lives on. That's what's in us now, that we leave here like we planted it. That's why this matters to me. That's why I want to talk to you and be with you and continue this, even though you've got a whole path of your own. You've got your own trajectory, but like whatever I did up to this point is what matters. Whatever wrong I did with you up to this point matters too, but the point is that you're going forward. That you've got somewhere for you next waiting.
I just don't know what that is.
What do you think? What do you think you're going to do with that?
I don't know. I guess protect people. That's the kind of the point of learning to fight, right? Is you're not being a bully. You're trying to make sure that people who can't fight for themselves have somebody to fight for them.
It's hard to keep that spirit in the world that we're in. And so you hold on for dear life, because that is not how other people think. If you can keep that and carry that torch as long as you can in this world, that's light that people don't carry.
Why not?
And you can share that. You can give that to the people that you're protecting. You can share that light further. The same way that I'm talking about what persists after I go on and to whatever oblivion, the light that I gave you is what you can carry on. And if you protect people and they see that it actually matters, you can give that light to them.
But then why doesn't everyone do that?
Because we're hungry, because we're scared, because we're desperate, because we are born into a world that hates us. And when we fight for our own with the motivation of demonizing the other, we win, but we don't really win. We get what we want, but at the cost of somebody else suffering. You'll be fine. It's dark out there, but you'll be fine.
I hope so. I'd like to fish again.
Me too.
And we see that sort of focus on the fishing rod, watching the bobber, and it's just a mental image projected back onto this weird blob lurching, scuttling forward, like imagining targets, knowing that he's got to carry the light. He has to protect.
As you're like imagining that, Bobber, you look into this blobby ooze creature with, you know, leaves and little bits of refuse kind of like strewn about in its form. You see like a little jar, like a mason jar kind of some of the collected liquid from the rain and whatnot that had been kind of harvested in this camp. And you see its lid is just barely off, right? It's kind of sustained in this gelatin, but you can see like bubbling around the rim of it as if there's like a reaction between the ooze itself and the liquid that had been harvested.
There's a bite, and I'll shoot for the jar.
right.
So, flashback tag. I'm gonna tag that as carry the light and security officer. So 2 tags. Rolling
Hell yeah.
and against 4.
Nice.
Okay, 6. Got it.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you're kind of like shooting at the like descending pseudopods that are coming towards you, you hit that little jar and it goes, and again it's like it's suspended in this gelatinous shape, but you can see all of the liquid inside starts to react and bubble, and you just see these bubbles kind of trailing out of the ooze, kind of like if you've ever seen those awful TikTok videos of like the white hot
the
metal
hot
ball
thing they
in
put
like
in the gel.
inside of slime
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah,
and it's like
yeah. The weirdest ASMR ever. Just
yeah, exactly, just like ooze
We're not
bubbling is
supposed
a
to
weird
kink
sound.
shame on this channel,
what
Matt.
if, what if mac and cheese could plap? That is the sound.
So you see this reaction. It doesn't seem to be like a dramatic enough one, but there's clearly like a volatile reaction. It kind of like shifts and then just kind of starts to push whatever it can out of itself as
Nice.
that's going on. But it continues to move towards you all as you are shooting, but it clearly slowed it down a little bit. Who wants to go next?
And we have a floating drive from that, so be
Yes.
ready for
Yay.
any rerolls.
I think.
You want to poke it?
Yeah, I want to poke it.
I think with seeing the reaction from the gel, from whatever it is that these orchids are doing, it's kind of making me wonder if Jimmy sees, because initially it was a blob where it's just this amorphous, there's nothing really distinguishable on the inside of this thing. And I feel like Jimmy can't help but wonder if he's starting to see outlines of like what could be organs or something, or like there's like imaging, there's actual like shadows of shapes taking form and stuff. And he's kind of gunning for like, oh good, soft things on the inside. I'm shooting for that. So
It's not all just refuse. There is some sort of internal
there's
biology.
something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it is. He just
some
knows
dark
that
spots that are like, what is? No, that looks organic.
there's
That's
something
not
squishy
just
I
junk.
could poke
Yeah.
at. So I think
Yep,
there's
for
that.
sure.
I think the one tag would definitely be the gambler portion. I don't know if the gel could be a tag technically, not necessarily with him, but the situation.
Oh yeah, I'm tracking with you. I think that that kind of played into the floating drive.
Okay, gotcha. Still, I
if you need
think
a
we are
reroll,
just
you've got
working with
the-
one tag.
That gel is going to be your reroll if you
Yep.
need it.
Yeah, so it's just gonna be no,
Roll-
not
roll
one
two
tag.
d6. Yep, take
lowest.
the highest of the two. Yep.
Oh, take
you're
the
always
highest,
rolling
okay.
two.
You got one tag.
Yeah,
so
you're
you
always
get to take
rolling
highest.
2. Yeah, if you have no tags, you take the lowest.
Okay,
Or
One
only
tag, you take
negatives.
the highest. 2
Yeah.
tags, you
and
take
we're
both.
at
We're aiming for
4.
4. Yeah.
4. Okay, here we go. Got a 5! Yay!
Yeah!
Mel's rolling hot. Yeah, so
And it's just gonna
you
be
go
for
over-
tonight.
Yeah, and you see one of those little like darker dots within this ooze or whatever, and you just kind of take this very like thin spindle, like spear-like piece of white, like bleached wood, and just kind of spear right into it, and it just kind of it creates like this huge splash around you as you dig into it and kind of push it into the ground. But you see like almost like droplets, like this ooze begins to disassemble itself, and like it hits the ground, like this paved area, and then like little bits of the ooze are kind of rolling almost for safety to like slough off into the dirt. So some of the little droplets are like getting away into the dirt. But this main mass has been skewered and has had this reaction to where the immediate threat seems to have been extinguished.
Nice.
Distinguished with the top hat.
Distinguished threat.
So for the moment, we effectively we don't have to resolve the other actions unless you guys want to just narrate what you're doing. But the immediate threat is gone.
Can I
Yeah, go for it,
change
Haley.
my thing? Because I technically did a push forward, which added to it. So instead, I would like to say that as I grabbed onto the offering, I look up and I can see children off into the distance. And so I pick that direction to like steer Brandon too. So like instead of it obviously throwing away anything I got, I just influence the runaway that Brandon did.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that as you all kind of retreat from the village itself, and then with a bit of directional guidance towards Catherine seeing like the kids in the distance over there.
Yeah, it's like far off that I can't I don't think we're gonna catch up to them.
But it gives you like a bearing of like, okay, we're getting out of this. Let's go that way. You can hear like cracking in the trees nearby, and then more drops of these oozy creatures that are nearby, and you all just gun it and get out of the immediacy of this village. And after like, I don't know, like 5 minutes, like you all have just been pushing, and but you've been going deeper into this. You see some of these orchids orchids, right? Yeah, orchids more like seemingly not cultivated, but like natively about the space, and almost like wildly grown in this area, where it's much more open, like almost like a field where like a lot of the trees are just arcing up and over this space, and things just grow quiet, and you can just hear the huffing and puffing of the group as you've all kind of gotten to this part, pushing past some of the orchids themselves. And it's been a couple minutes now to where you don't hear anything, no cracking, no buzzing of wasps or anything within immediate. But as soon as you kind of take that second to breathe and to slow down, I think Catherine, you see like movement in this, like it's like corn right now. It's like all these orchids, right? And you see some more movement on the other side, and you hear.
I feel like the wild
faintest
ones
giggle.
definitely are like multied. So like for some reason in that town it was just the single stalk with the single flower, whereas now it's like full. And so it actually takes like some like weaving through to like corn, like you would see corn climbing up like that.
Yeah, and so in kind of pursuit of these giggles and whatnot, you kind of continue through. And what have these giggles led you to? You enter into what it looks like a geometric crop circle, like flower of life design in the middle of these orchids. And there's something very central, something relating to the fact that it's been kids leading you here, and you feel safe here. You feel, whereas you were very much under threat while in that village, whatever has been leading you is trying to show you that what is, be able to be harvested through these orchids will keep you safe. what is central in this that you find?
Oh God. I have a couple of ideas that I'm not entirely sure. So I think in the center of this is very similarly like in the cultivated village, where there has been a purposefully growth of like that lattice work of all of the plants, and it almost goes up like one of those like a giant antenna that like points up to the sky, and then there are wild orchids just like growing all over it,
all through it, kind of
yeah,
like a hollow,
almost like a trellis sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like climbed up the whole way, where there's like the mixture of the two. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else is there. There's like one of those at the bottom of it.
We can throw it to the group too. I'm
Yeah.
totally down for
Yeah.
what you all are walking into this clearing. You see like this central spire trellis covered in orchids, kind of almost growing more like ivy now rather than the corn stalks.
Yeah, and you can tell that like all of the liquid that gets caught in these is dripping, like almost like misting over this entire area. Rather than being like collected into the ground to like be jarred, this is like mist, like it's like those, like misters.
Yeah.
No, we said it's a trellis, so it's like this weird.
I think it's like a
sorta-
spire like shape,
Yes,
you know, like of trellis, like a spiral trellis of
Like
intentionally
4 triangles.
grown. Yeah.
Is it made
Okay.
of non-natural material, like something built this structure for the orchids to
Yes.
grow around?
Yeah, it's like the forced, like the stamps for the
Yes.
for that
Yeah,
pumpkin.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
that I
is
was
the
talking
tree
about.
material,
The
but
tree
it's forced
material
to grow like this.
Gotcha.
Weave trees together, and then they become this beautiful thing. They've done
Yeah.
that. That's how they've created this.
So I have 2 ideas. One is more of like inside the trellis, and then one is for like outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So on the outside, since you said, Andrew, that we suddenly feel safe here,
Yeah.
and I feel like one of the major things that the group would notice is that all the flowers are facing outward. They're facing away from the trellis. It's kind of like a surveyor sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then because this is me, and because Matt's in this group, I cannot help
There's
but
a
add
flesh
a little
monolith.
This is a flesh
No.
monolith.
I cannot help but add a little bit of like,
Mm-hmm.
it's safe, but like there's still this like horror element.
Oh, there's something.
Because there's kids who wound up bringing the group here, I cannot help but feel that at the trellis is a child's toy.
Okay.
Like
we're-
right
Or
in
like
the
children's
center.
playground equipment
We're on
is what I.
that is where my brain went. Is that this
Yeah.
trellis, like this formation,
Yeah.
is just the
Mhm.
tallest part, and you like look around and you start to distinguish like the trellis from the flowers that are growing up around it, and it's like one of those big like castle playgrounds. Like
Yeah.
those little like
Yeah.
bridges and little like buttresses and walls and stuff. Like it's a little like treehouse.
There's even a
made of
swing
tree.
where it's made of
Yeah.
all of the vines and stuff.
Yes. It's like treehouse made of tree. It's like this little like kid fort, except it's actually safe because of this weird misting of that like strange liquid combined with the nature of these orchids, and like it's firm, sturdy walls.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get some Resident Evil vibes up
Weird,
in here.
weird, creepy Silent Hill tree playground.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we're gonna go into our ending here. So as we arrive in this clearing and feeling a bit safe, I want to know what happens. I want to know what happens next, right? So you can kind of decide if it's in the immediate moments after, if it's after they go back and say stuff to camp and whatnot. I'm curious where you all see this. The way we spun it last time is the show got canceled.
Yeah.
No.
Quick, resolve it.
Is in the script. What's in the script that gets leaked for the subsequent episodes?
Mm-hmm. What if?
Or since this is like a one-time
Yeah.
sort of thing, It could be a TV special where there's an after credits scene.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
What if we don't get the leaked script? Because what if
Okay.
Conlon has other weddings to go to? And so we need to do out of orbit again. And now we've got
Okay,
this
okay,
full cast
okay.
of characters.
We won't go macro. We
But-
won't go
but-
macro.
but-
So previews.
so like just
Yeah.
a taste of like
Yeah, next season
Yeah.
on
Pilot, yeah,
Out of
exactly.
orbit.
Next
Yeah.
season kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
clips.
I have something I want to do for Oscar that could be a little creepy here because
Yeah.
Okay.
Oscar has the crash
Are we,
trauma.
is this like, are we gonna do like tragic, beautiful, mysterious, just like go around?
Yeah,
again and
typically.
then
I mean,
have
like
that
you can break it if you want to, but
Okay.
yeah, that's always a good framework to start from.
Because Oscar's crash injury, the like crash trauma was experiencing post-crash hallucinations and flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is that he's just had that memory of his dad and that fishing trip as we were fighting off the ooze and making the escape. Maybe he can't bring himself down. He's still got that like heartbeat
Yeah.
in the ears and is like, I'll take first watch. And is just sitting in this weird playground, like legs sort of dangling off the side. And he just hears his dad over his shoulder, and he can look over and he sees him. And starts having this prolonged conversation. I think I'm carrying it. I think I'm doing what you said. And then we just hear the dad's voice. That's good. I'm proud of you. And his head turns, there's just no face.
Oh my god.
Who's next?
In that same vein. So, we've heard children. We've seen a playground.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, you have a couple of kids who are based at camp.
So like
Trying-
crash with us.
Yeah. So like
Got it.
trying to play with like whatever toys remain, trying to make something out of nothing to like, you know,
Yeah.
keep the spirit alive and just to entertain themselves. I think one kid was really, really lucky and he found a ball, soccer ball, basketball, doesn't matter what. And he kicks it where it hits just outside of camp, like right around the edge.
Goes through the goes through the seaweed.
Uh-huh.
Goes through the seaweed and it's just like, you know, slowly kind of swaying. And he
You shouldn't be
starts.
swaying when you're looking at it. That's worse. What's going on?
You know, that's
Sorry, my
say.
bad. Sorry, my bad.
No, that
So-
makes it even creepier. Why?
No, that's great.
Why is he looking at
Okay.
it and it's moving?
Why
Is
hasn't-
it like
yeah, why hasn't
that's a
suddenly
started
moving?
teaser
He
for
noticed it
season
is
2?
moving. And I think this kid is like young enough where he's not really registering it shouldn't be moving. And he turns around because he's like, oh man, I lost the ball. And all of a sudden you hear bong, bong, bong.
As the ball bounces back out of the
Ball
grass.
bounces back out. And the kid sees the ball and he's really excited and he picks it up and he looks up and he sees that there's a child's face in the seaweed. All white, no pupils. And he has this very inviting smile. And all of a sudden you see another face, another
Ah.
face.
Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And that's it for that
Mm-mm.
one.
Mm-mm. No, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I love how Matt is the only one who's genuinely happy, I think, with
You don't
this
like the face
horror
bush? I'm
element.
loving the face bush.
No, I don't like the
Jesus
very
Christ.
It's fantastic. An idea. It's
But
just
no.
creepy as
I love it. Hate it.
But I love it.
I love it. I'm here for it, but it
Oh,
icks
man.
me.
Haley or Taylor?
Taylor, you wanna
Um,
go?
are there any more of those, like the symbols and offerings? Like they got more and more grotesque
Mm.
as we continued on our journey. They were fresh. Like
Yeah.
because this is going to feed into what I'm going to do. It wasn't like this trail had been set out and like fresh bait was
Correct.
set
Yeah,
at
it
the
was
camp.
each like, yeah, each time you would get to a spot, it would be like it just got set up. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. I Brendan's gonna try and sit down and go through all the different offerings and the weird patterns that were left to see. So like mushrooms were left in a circle, and whatever other patterns or symbols that he can remember in previous offerings to how they got more and more grotesque, and try and find a link, essentially trying to learn the language of what is being left and said. And so far we haven't heard any of these children talking. It's just been
Correct. Yeah.
laughter. And now he's starting to hear whispers, but they're not children's voices. They are feminine and masculine, loud and quiet, whispering and screaming and
Almost like emoting instead of
yeah, it's like
vocalizing
10 different
words.
voices.
Yeah.
10 different voices overlapping one another, and there's an echo. So it's really hard to distinguish between where one word ends and the other picks up. And then just all emotion disappears from his face, and he too now has he still has his eyes, his nose, his mouth and everything, but now it's blank and vacant as these whispers penetrate his mind.
Ooh.
Very cool. We'll end with an introduction to a character that you didn't see much of in season 1. So like this is like the season 2 deep dive.
There
into
we
this
go.
character.
There we go. There we go.
I know where this is going.
There's gonna be a flashback, and we're going to Molly, and it's like right before the crash of the ship, where you see Molly begins to hear the giggling of the children, like a something is coming through the radio, something is happening, like which shouldn't be happening at this speed, which is just like really, really odd. And then out of nowhere receives just like instruction, but you don't hear what it says, you just hear like the whispers of the, like what Taylor was saying, like just the voices kind of talking, and you just see Molly kind of just like let go of whatever she's doing, and you realize the alarms going off that someone was noticing was Molly just pressing and dumping fuel, dumping power, turning engines off, and then she kind of comes to and tries to fix it, but it doesn't take long before things just like fall into the thing. And then the last image we see is like after everyone's returned and you guys have talked about the Orchid Tower and how it's safe there, and maybe people start to build those types of things. You like zoom over and you see blood just up Molly's arms as you can see a child whispering in an adult's voice into her ear as she is cutting open and creating these sick offerings and putting them in place as the child is whispering into her ear.
And credits.
Matthew.
Matt, yes.
Andrew, I'm sorry, but Haley is a part of the chaos of Matt's TDT,
Oh, yeah.
so their
talking
influence has
well.
rubbed off on her. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you all
There
have
should have
been
been
wonderful.
raffles on this planet.
Should be what?
Raffles? They
Raffles.
are a furry creature that if you cut it into them, they look like a pomegranate filled with kidneys.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't
It's
want to eat dinner
exhausting.
They're
anymore.
cute. They're little fuzzy little munchkins, and they just like blurb little pseudo limbs out of themselves.
What are they? Huh?
But
What
they're
are
a made-up thing.
They're a made up thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of these.
We called them rapples because they grew off of a tree in the Sunless Citadel. They weren't apples, they were just these fuzzy fruits. But then when you plucked them, they can move around like rats. And yeah, they have fun.
Maybe we'll find Boris berries.
We'll find Boris berries here. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I was the entire time since Mel mentioned the pill bugs being part of like the micro things. I was wanting to do a Emperor's New Groove reference of just like where they whack them with the straw and they open up and it's like steamy like pill bug lasagna things. Just straw.
You're gonna eat that?
Out.
I love it. Oh, well, thank you all so much. This has been a blast. Maybe we'll continue. Who knows?
Who knows?
But this has been a delightful little one shot.
Thank you, Andrew, for coming
and
in.
I appreciate.
Yay! Thank you, Andrew.
So
Putting up with our nonsense twice.
Oh man, it's been a lot. No, but yeah, thank you all for hanging out and watching along. The game is in progress. Still testing things out, tweaking things here and there. If you are excited about it, tell me and follow along. And I'll be getting up. We'll be launching a backer kit for pledge management. If you back the campaign, that'll be coming fairly soon. And then hopefully going to open up some late pledges for people that still want to get their foot in the door before we actually order it. But again, that'll come down the road. Yeah, thank you all for being here.
Yay.
Thank you for having us, Andrew.
Thanks for coming in to watch. Thank you to Andrew for running another amazing Out of Orbit session. Definitely go and follow the itch page and add it to your collections, your wish lists, whatever you need on itch so that you can stay up to date on all of that news. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for next week. There's going to be another round of Total Party Chaos on Mondays. Tales Does Tales on Tuesdays if you want some more horror in your dungeon crawls. And then Colin should be back on Wednesday for episode 3 of Tales of Carowin, our new Fabula Ultima campaign. So check out what's going to happen with all of our new fantastic weeby JRPG characters that are running around figuring out what's going on with these weird spires of light. And now we need numbers to go get library cards. Yeah.
And we have the preview coming up for all of you who are over on our Patreon.
If you are on our
if
Patreon.
It's what I think it is.
Yes, if you are on our Patreon, you are going to get a sneak preview of what is to come starting next month with all of Liberty for All, our witches campaign that Mel is a GM of, and it's super exciting. I'm super happy to finally release this. Yeah, Andrew, do you remember our sign out? Otherwise, I won't subject you to.
Y'all ready for some more tales?
Always! We got a raid, so don't go away, everybody. Make sure you stick around for the raid.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.